Chapter 857. In just half a day, a piece of news that shocked many old monsters spread across countless 7th grade Thunder worlds. Even some of the old monsters from the Level 8 Thunder world were slightly moved when they heard the news. The mysterious Thunder world lord who was half a step away from the void-shedding realm was killed half a day ago. Countless subordinate forces of the mysterious Thunder world lord, including the Heavenly Moon sect, were plundered by the murderer. The murderer was a silver-haired cultivator with a ghostly face. His cultivation base and origin were unknown, but it was said that he was a void-shedding old monster. When the news reached the Thunderfall world, the 3 human profound realm old ancestors of the Pure Lightning sect were so shocked that their eyeballs almost fell off. They would never have imagined that Ning Fan possessed such terrifying strength that he could directly kill his way to the mysterious Thunder world and snatch Lu Yen away. The fallen mysterious Thunder world lord was just a 7th grade Thunder world after all. Such news was not enough to attract the attention of the 9th grade Thunder world. The other Thunder worlds just sighed, but they did not intend to intervene in this matter. The 3,000 Thunder worlds had their own rules. No one would care about the private affairs of the mysterious Thunder world. Ning Fan left the mysterious Thunder world and temporarily settled down in a nearby 5th grade Thunder world. The 5th grade Thunder world, the Heavenly Water world. After arriving at this place, Ning Fan randomly found a barren mountain and opened up a cave abode. After eliminating the subordinates of the mysterious Thunder world lord, Ning Fan had obtained a lot of spoils of war. However, it was not his original intention. His original intention was just to snatch Lu Yen back. Lu Yen was the spirit of the Red Jade Star Plate. If he wants to go to the true Lightning world, she was indispensable. Currently, Ning Fan was rich. Among the spoils of war, there were only a few types of secret techniques of the Tao of Lightning that could slightly move his heart. He did not plan to count the spoils of war for the time being. With a thought, he released Lu Yen from the profound Yin world. "Senior, are we safe now?" Lu Yen's face was abnormally red. She was slightly panting and her voice was intermittent. "Don't worry. The mysterious Thunder world lord and his disciple have already died in my hands. You won't be in any trouble anymore." Ning Fan said indifferently. "Thank Senior, for saving my life." Lu Yen bowed gracefully. She tried her best to hold back the seductive look in her eyes as she did not want Ning Fan to notice her current embarrassment. Currently, the medicinal power of the aphrodisiac was still wreaking havoc in her body. That aphrodisiac was extremely powerful. Even with her cultivation base at the 4th heavenly layer of the void fragmentation realm, she could not suppress it at all. But even if she was drugged, she still had to restrain the effects of the drug. Master had said that she couldn't be rude in front of a senior expert. From Lu Yan's point of view, since Ning Fan was able to kill the mysterious Thunder Realm Lord, he was most likely an old monster at the Shedding Void Realm. He was a senior expert whom she would never be able to reach in her lifetime. In front of Ning Fan, she must not lose her manners. "Are you under the influence of an aphrodisiac?" Ning Fan looked at Lu Yen with a strange expression. "Yes." Lu Yan's voice was as soft as a mosquito. After all, she was still a woman. It was difficult for her to speak of such matters. She lowered her head in embarrassment. Her black hair was like a waterfall, covering her delicate red cheeks. Her breasts were heaving up and down, and her breathing was a little hurried. "Let me help you detoxify." Ning Fan's indifferent words entered Lu Yan's ears. Her face immediately turned pale. She bit her lips bitterly and begged in a low voice. "No. This poison is not a problem. A powerful aphrodisiac was usually incurable. The only way to detoxify it was to have intercourse with a man and a woman." In Lu Yan's point of view, the detoxification Ning Fan mentioned was referring to doing that kind of thing to her. She had an indescribable sense of intimacy towards Ning Fan, but it was not the feeling between a man and a woman. She couldn't bear to be plucked by Ning Fan and have sex with him. Including this time, she had only met Ning Fan twice. She didn't know Ning Fan's identity, appearance, or cultivation base. She didn't know anything about Ning Fan. How could she recklessly agree to do that kind of thing with a stranger? The aphrodisiac in you is a little tricky. If it isn't detoxified, You will certainly burn to death within 3 days. Are you sure you don't want me to detoxify it for you? Ning Fan looked at Lu Yen with a faint smile. No, I really don't need it. Thank you for your kindness, senior. Lu Yen blushed and refused in a low voice. That won't do. You are my weapon spirit. I can't watch you die from the poison. Unknowingly, Ning Fan suddenly had the intention to tease this girl who would rather die than give up her purity. He walked towards Lu Yen step by step. She immediately retreated like a frightened deer until she reached the wall. There was no other way to retreat. No. Don't. She closed her eyes in despair. Her long eyelashes were stained with tears. It was obviously a refusal, but under the influence of the aphrodisiac, her voice was as soft as a kitten's, her heart was beating so fast that it almost jumped out of her throat. She had an ignorant fear that she would be robbed by the man in front of her. The cultivation world was really cruel. Without strength, it was really hard to live a clean life. Don't worry, I'm not interested in your body. With my cultivation base of the bewitching art, I don't need intercourse to cure the aphrodisiac. Ning Fan sighed slightly and stopped teasing Lu Yen. With the mind-reading art, he could see through all the worries in Lu Yan's heart. In his eyes, Lu Yen was just a weapon spirit. He didn't have any other thoughts, nor would he have any. Lu Yen couldn't help but feel a little ashamed when Ning Fan saw through her thoughts. She blinked her eyes at Ning Fan and smiled apologetically. She seemed to have the heart of a villain. Have a good sleep. Everything will be fine when you wake up. Ning Fan didn't say anything else and revealed his demon eyes. Immediately, countless purple rays flew out from his eyes and swept across Lu Yen. The moment she was swept by the purple rays, Lu Yan's body went numb and she fainted on the ground. The aphrodisiac in her body was instantly eliminated by the purple rays. This purple ray was the third divine ability that Ning Fan had cultivated after the plucking finger and imprisoning seal lock, chaotic world purple ray. This divine ability could not only subdue a woman, but also remove the aphrodisiac in her body. Seeing that Lu Yen had fallen asleep and her breathing was even, Ning Fan flicked his finger and a stone bed immediately appeared in the cave. With a flick of his sleeve, a gust of wind swept Lu Yen onto the stone bed. After doing all this, Ning Fan's eyes slightly focused and walked out of the cave. Ever since he left the profound thunder world, Ning Fan had a feeling that he was being followed. The tracker's cultivation base was very strange. She didn't reveal any chi of her cultivation base, but she gave Ning Fan a strange sense of danger. The strangest thing was that the tracker didn't seem to have any hostility towards him. Occasionally, she would purposely laugh a few times to let Ning Fan sense her presence. What was the tracker's purpose and what was her scheme? Your Excellency has been following me all the way here. Are you still not going to show yourself? Ning Fan's eyes flickered with green light and looked at a cluster of flowers outside the cave. He was very sure that the tracker was hiding in the cluster of flowers. But I'm not the only one following you. Is there another one called Your Excellency? Suddenly, a clear and melodious voice sounded out from the cluster of flowers. In the next instant, a barefooted silver-haired little Lolita hopped and appeared, and she was humming an indescribable ballad. Where is the one called, Your Excellency, hiding? Ayaya, you actually managed to hide from my senses. Not bad. You should know that even Xiao Qingqing, who's the best in stealth, couldn't hide from my senses. With a swoosh, the little Lolita scurried up the tree like a little monkey. She looked left and right, but still couldn't find anyone hiding in this place. Instead, she conveniently plucked a wild fruit from the tree. With a step, she turned into a ray of lightning and appeared behind Ning Fan in an instant. She was munching on the wild fruit and giggling. Her strange speed made Ning Fan feel a chill down his spine. If it wasn't because he sensed that the little Lolita didn't have any malicious intent, Ning Fan would have launched an attack behind him. He turned around and carefully studied the little Lolita in front of him. Ning Fan had pushed the state of the unity of heaven and man to the extreme. Sensing at such a close distance, Ning Fan gradually realized that there were too many unimaginable things about the little Lolita. She didn't have any chi of cultivation base, but the sense of danger Ning Fan felt was no less than that of an intermediate shedding void old monster. There was no cultivation base in the little Lolita's body, but with just a thought, she could burst out lightning and form a divine ability. What kind of creature was she? Thunder spirit? Thunder demon? No, she wasn't. She was just a human girl with flesh and blood. This little Lolita seemed to have a lot of secrets. Moreover, this little Lolita gave Ning Fan a sense of déjà vu, but it seemed like it was just an illusion. Ning Fan secretly activated the mind-reading technique, but he couldn't pry into the little Lolita's thoughts. He could only hear the incessant sound of thunder from the little Lolita's heart. Humph! Brother Ghostface, you lied to me. There's no one hiding here. The little Lolita said angrily after double-checking. After eating a wild fruit in a few mouthfuls, the little Lolita's stomach suddenly rumbled. She was hungry. Her hunger couldn't be satisfied by ordinary food. Once this feeling of hunger appeared, the little Loli suddenly fell to the ground. Her small face was filled with pain, and her pale and terrifying face was pale. Her fleshy body, on the other hand, began to turn into spots of lightning, showing signs of collapsing and dissipating. This is 9 Revolution Lightning Body. Ning Fan's eyes changed. The 9 Revolution Lightning Body was a special physique that allowed one to innately control lightning. Cultivators who possessed this type of body were all experts in the Tao of lightning. This type of body could evolve 9 times in total. Each time it evolved, the lightning body would have 1 more revolution, greatly improving the cultivator's strength. However, during each evolution, the owner of the lightning body would have their primordial spirit fused with their body, temporarily losing all their cultivation base and could only exert a limited amount of lightning abilities. There were also cultivators who temporarily lost part of their memories during the evolution of the lightning body. Ning Fan's eyes focused. The little Lolita in front of him was undoubtedly an owner of the 9 Revolution Lightning Body. She should be in the process of evolving the lightning body and temporarily lost all her cultivation base, because she didn't replenish her lightning power in time during the evolution of the lightning body. The evolution of the little Lolita's lightning body was on the verge of failure. Once the evolution failed, the lightning body would collapse and she would die completely. Most of the owners of the 9 Revolution Lightning Body died from the failure of the lightning body evolution. This little Lolita is probably going to die from the failure of the evolution. Ning Fan's eyes flickered. He was thinking about which force this little Lolita belonged to. No matter what, she should be an old monster who possessed the strength of the mid-shedding void realm. Why would she run around outside at such a critical moment of the lightning body evolution without anyone to protect her and provide her with lightning power? Should I watch her die here, or should I save her? Ning Fan pondered for a while and finally made a decision. Before the little Lolita's physical body was about to collapse, he extracted some lightning power from the lightning diagram and injected it into her body. He could naturally be cold-blooded and merciless when facing his enemies. However, this little Lolita didn't seem to have any hostility towards him. This girl has been following me all the way here. Don't tell me she smelled the lightning chi on my body. Ning Fan was slightly speechless. His guess was already close to the truth. The lightning power in the lightning diagram was obtained by killing the innate lightning spirit, and its power was pure. As soon as the lightning power entered her body, the little Lolita immediately felt warm. The painful expression on her face immediately turned into a beautiful smile. She burped comfortably and lied down on the ground, falling asleep lazily. She was sleeping soundly. Her silky silver hair casually hung beside her ears without any vigilance. Under such circumstances, Ning Fan only needed to make a move and he would be able to kill this girl. Was this girl really a shedding void old monster before her lightning body evolved? Or did she lose part of her memories due to the evolution of her lightning body? That's why she was so careless when facing other cultivators. Ning Fan frowned. Ning Fan knitted his brows. He had no enmity with this lady. Thus, he naturally would not kill her while she was sleeping. However, it was also impossible for him to provide lightning power to this girl to evolve her lightning body. They had met by chance. It was already a grace for him to save her once. He didn't have the obligation to continue taking care of her. After thinking for a while, Ning Fan squatted down and carried the little Lolita. He placed her on the stone bed in the cave and left with Lu Yen, who was still asleep. I'll let the little Lolita sleep on her own. When she wakes up and gets hungry, she will find her own home. Ning Fan summoned the Blood Lotus spirit equipment that he hadn't used for a long time and left the heavenly water world. He stood on the Blood Lotus with his hands clasped behind his back. Lu Yen was breathing evenly beside him, sleeping soundly. After an unknown period of time, Lu Yen woke up. Seeing that the aphrodisiac in her body was gone, Lu Yen's face turned pale and she immediately checked her body. When she found that her primordial yin was still intact, she revealed a look of shame. It seemed like she was judging Ning Fan again. "Thank you, Senior, for helping me get rid of the aphrodisiac." Lu Yen lowered her head and thanked him in a low voice. "You are my tool spirit. I will naturally save you. You don't have to thank me anymore in the future," Ning Fan said indifferently. "Tool spirit? Sure enough, those scenes weren't fake." Lu Yen sighed softly. Ever since she met Ning Fan for the first time, some scenes kept popping up in her mind. In those scenes, she was the tool spirit of an astrolabe. She initially thought that those scenes were fake, but Ning Fan repeatedly mentioned the word, tool spirit, which was enough to prove that those scenes were real. She wasn't stupid. She immediately guessed that the reason why Ning Fan went to Heavenly Moon Sect to save her was not because of her beauty, but because of her identity as a tool spirit. Moreover, she could also see that although Ning Fan didn't covet her body, he needed her to do something for him. Before achieving his goal, Ning Fan wasn't prepared to let her go. "Senior, do you need me to do something as a tool spirit?" Lu Yen asked cautiously. "Yes." "Can I regain my freedom after I complete this task?" "Yes, but before I complete this task, you must stay by my side to avoid any unforeseen events. You can have this item. Use the power of the tool spirit in your body to nourish this treasure." Ning Fan patted his storage pouch, took out the scarlet jade astrolabe and handed it to Lu Yen. Lu Yen's beautiful eyes immediately went blank. In those broken scenes, she was once the tool spirit of this astrolabe. This astrolabe must be infused with the power of the tool spirit in order to guide it. There were two ways to infuse the power of the tool spirit. One was to kill Lu Yen and use her soul to refine the astrolabe. Although this method was cruel, it was fast. It would only take a few days for the power of the tool spirit to be infused into the astrolabe. The other method was to let Lu Yen take the initiative to nourish the astrolabe with the power of the tool spirit. This method wouldn't cause too much damage to Lu Yen, but the speed of infusing the tool spirit would be very slow. It would probably take her at least 10 years to succeed. "Thank you for sparing my life, Senior." Lu Yen naturally knew about the two methods of infusing the tool spirit. She felt a little grateful to Ning Fan for choosing the second method. "Your master had begged me not to kill you if it's possible. Anyway, I'm not in a hurry to go to that place. Therefore, it's not necessary for me to kill you as a sacrifice. As long as you can complete the task of attaining the spirit of the astrolabe within 10 years. After that, you can regain your freedom. I won't stop you from going wherever you want to go. I have no way to repay Senior for saving my life. I will certainly do my best for the task of attaining the spirit of the astrolabe. However, I have a small request. Can Senior send me back to the White Thunder Sect first?" "What do you want to do in the White Thunder Sect?" Ning Fan asked with a frown. "I was kidnapped by Yujizi. My master must be very worried. I want to go back to the White Thunder Sect to see her. After that, I'm willing to follow Senior and help you nourish the astrolabe." Lu Yen pleaded. "Are you going back to the White Thunder Sect just to see your master?" "Yes." Ning Fan remained silent for a long time and finally said in an indifferent tone. "Your master, Su Yenzong, has already passed away. And Master Yi, really?" Lu Yen lowered her eyes sadly. Her eyes were glistening with tears. She already knew that her master was approaching the returning void. She also understood that her master allowed Yujizi to kidnap her because he was powerless to save her. However, she had never expected that her master had already passed away. She did not think that Ning Fan would lie to her. There was no need for him to lie to her about such a matter. Without her master, the cold and detached White Thunder sect would no longer be her home, and she would no longer have any attachment to the sect. However, she still wanted to go back and have a look. Even if it's just to pay her respects in front of her master's grave. Do you want to go back and pay your respects to your master? Ning Fan asked indifferently. Lu Yen was slightly stunned. Before she could react, Ning Fan had already changed the direction of the Blood Lotus and brought her back to the Thunderfall world, returning to the White Thunder sect. The moment Ning Fan arrived at the White Thunder sect, the entire sect was in a state of panic. The three human Profound Realm old ancestors welcomed Ning Fan with fear and trepidation. They were afraid that they would offend this peerless ominous star if they showed any disrespect. We didn't know that Senior is a void-shedding cultivator. Please forgive us if we have offended you in the past. It's all right. You may leave now. I will only stay here for a while and I will leave soon. Yes. The cultivators of the White Thunder sect were dismissed by Ning Fan. He waited outside the stone chamber alone while Lu Yen stayed inside to pay her respects to her master's grave. After an unknown period of time, Lu Yen wiped away her tears and walked out. She no longer had any attachment to the White Thunder sect. She smiled at Ning Fan gratefully. Thank you for giving me the chance to pay my respects to my master, Senior. From today onwards, I have no home to return to. Please allow me to follow you. Ning Fan nodded his head. He flicked his sleeve and left with Lu Yen. It would take at least 10 years for the Scarlet Jade Star Plate to fuse with the power of the artifact spirit. During these 10 years, Ning Fan could not go to the true lightning world for the time being. Hence, he could do something else. He wanted to cultivate the divine force art. Ning Fan left the 3000 Thunder Realm at full speed and flew towards the Demon Slaughter planet outside the lightning region. His goal was to pass through the realm gate of the Demon Ruler sect and arrive at the Savage Battlefield. He wanted to borrow the endless battle intent there to cultivate the War God art. The effect of cultivating the War God art there was much better than cultivating at the Broken Halberd Mountain of the Luo clan. The Demon Ruler sect of the Demon Slaughter planet. In the forbidden area of the Realm Gate, the cultivators of the Eastern Heaven who wanted to go to the Savage Battlefield were being strictly inspected by the Demon Ruler sect. Not everyone could enter the Savage Battlefield as they wish with the expedition token. It was extremely difficult for ordinary cultivators to enter the Savage Battlefield when it was not the time of the war between realms. They must have the passage token issued by the Four Fish sect. Not everyone could enter the Savage Battlefield at any time just because they have the passage token. To ordinary cultivators, the Realm Gate would only open once every 10 years. Besides, if they could not pass the strength assessment of the Demon Ruler sect, they would not be able to enter the Savage Battlefield. If they wanted to enter the Savage Battlefield when it was not the time of the war between realms, they would at least need to withstand the attacks of rogue immortals for the time it takes for an incense stick to burn. Coincidentally, the time for the next opening of the Realm Gate was approaching. In the forbidden area, there were hundreds of cultivators who were taking the test. Among them, there were more than 20 life immortals and 2 true immortals of the True Crossing realm. Naturally, these second-step cultivators did not need to take the test. The rest of the cultivators were at the Void Fragmentation realm. They were taking turns to take the test of the rogue immortals of the Demon Ruler sect. There were Void Fragmentation realm cultivators who failed, and there were also cultivators who passed the test. The person who presided over the test was the Tao child of the Demon Ruler sect. Qi Shen. The Demon Ruler sect. Qi Shen. This person had once participated in the disciple recruitment ceremony of the Slaughter Palace with Ning Fan. That year, his cultivation base was still at the mid-human profound realm. After a few decades, he had already broken through to the late-human profound realm. Such a cultivation speed was naturally unheard of, and it caused many old monsters to be shocked. However, Qi Shen never felt complacent. On the contrary, he was very dissatisfied with his cultivation speed. In the past, he had yet to step into the second step while I was at the mid-human profound realm. Now, I have just broken through to the late human profound realm while he is already the reign immortal monarch whose name shook the entire Eastern Heaven, Ning Fan. I will never be able to surpass him in my entire life. Qizhen sighed softly. All of a sudden, his eyes turned serious and he looked outside the forbidden area. Outside the forbidden area, a man and a woman were rushing towards them. Judging from the situation, they were going to enter the realm gate directly. Stop right there. Qizhen leaped and stood in front of them. His eyes were filled with curiosity as he scanned the two of them. The female cultivator was only at the fourth heavenly layer of the void fragmentation realm. It was obvious that she was not qualified to enter the realm gate. As for the male cultivator, his face was covered with a ghost mask. His chi was extremely obscure. Qizhen could not see through his cultivation base at all. Oh, it's him? Ningfan's eyes glanced at Qizhen and felt slightly surprised. However, he did not say a word. He just patted his storage pouch and took out a token, showing it to Qizhen. As soon as he saw the token, Qizhen's expression immediately changed and he cried out involuntarily. The Battle Expedition Order. The Battle Expedition Order that only 4th grade heavenly supervisors can possess. Qizhen was not the only one. Everyone who heard the words Battle Expedition Order looked at Ningfan in disbelief. In the 4 heavens, all the cultivators who were qualified to possess the Battle Expedition Order were old monsters at the eternal ancient realm. Countless cultivators were secretly guessing. Could Ningfan be an eternal ancient monster? Or is he the descendant of some eternal ancient monster? I want to enter the savage battlefield. Ningfan said with a hoarse voice. His voice was obviously fake. Thus, since Senior has the Battle Expedition Order, you don't have to wait here. You can freely enter the savage battlefield. This junior will immediately open the realm gate for Senior. Qizhen's face was filled with excitement. He felt extremely honored to be able to exchange a few words with an old monster who was suspected to be at the eternal ancient realm. If he knew that the man with the ghost mask in front of him was not an eternal ancient monster but a former opponent of his, he would probably feel very complicated. As Qizhen took out the formation compass and formed a formation incantation, the seal on the realm gate immediately showed signs of loosening. Ningfan directly entered the savage battlefield with Lu Yen. However, he did not notice that at the moment he entered the savage battlefield, there was actually a little tail following behind him. I'm so hungry. Big brother, wait for me. I haven't eaten my fill yet. A silver-haired little Lolita who had concealed her figure pestered them relentlessly. Before the realm gate was sealed again, she quietly followed them into the realm gate. The 10th grade Thunder World, Extreme Thunder World. In the Extreme Thunder World, black lightning constantly streaked across the vast sky, heading straight for the Extreme Thunder Palace. Along the way, deafening thunderclaps resounded continuously. Those were the sounds produced by the Black Lightning Chariot. It was a high-grade thunder chariot. Those who were qualified to ride on it were only Shikong and Thought Fragmentation Realm old monsters. Other than the Black Lightning Chariot, there were 4 other 6-colored lightning chariots which hurriedly returned to the Extreme Thunder Palace. Only Eternal Ancient Realm old monsters were qualified to ride on a 6-colored lightning chariot. As soon as the 4 6-colored lightning chariots landed, an extremely beautiful woman with silver hair walked out from each of them and hurriedly entered the Extreme Thunder Palace. All of them were eternal ancient immortal venerables. These 4 women were the 4 immortal venerables guardians of the Extreme Thunder Palace, Yu Lu and Qing Lan. The 4 immortal venerables were Venerables Qianyue, Venerables Yu Lu, Venerables Qing Shao and Venerables Rolan. Damn it! Haven't you found the palace lord's whereabouts yet? A bunch of trash. As soon as they entered the Extreme Thunder Palace, Venerables Qianyue immediately flew into a rage at the cultivators of the Thunder World. Her temper was famous for being hot-tempered. I've already said that we should just imprison the palace lord. Without the suppression of the Thunder King seal, it will be very dangerous for the palace lord's thunder body to evolve to the 9th revolution. Once she escapes to the outside world, the consequences will be unimaginable. This time, we must capture the palace lord and imprison her under the Thunder Mountain. Venerables Qing Shao frowned. Sob, 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 the palace lord and I are like sisters. If she doesn't have enough lightning power and dies outside, I don't want to live anymore. 3 feet of white silk will die for you. I want to die with her. Venerable's Roland's voice was so soft that it gave people goosebumps. Venerable's Yu Lu, who always liked to talk, was uncharacteristically silent today. She was hugging a crystal with rolling-in lightning in it. Sob, sob, sob. Sister Yu Lu, why aren't you saying anything? Venerable's Roland asked in a coquettish voice. I'm checking the Palace Lord's position. Although the Palace Lord knows how to conceal her aura and her appearance has changed greatly, I could still vaguely sense a trace of the Palace Lord's aura in the 3000 Thunder Realm, but now, I can't sense anything at all. Could it be? Speaking of this, Venerable's Yu Lu's forehead was filled with black lines. Her expression was both helpless and solemn. The other 3 immortal Venerables also revealed different degrees of shock. Could the Palace Lord have run out of the 3000 Thunder Realm? Not good. This time, things had gotten out of hand. Once the Palace Lord ran out of the 3000 Thunder Realm, they were afraid that it would be very difficult to find her. Once the Palace Lord couldn't replenish her lightning power in time, she would most likely die from the backlash of the Thunder Body. They were all missing the palace treasure of the Extreme Thunder Palace, the Thunder King Seal. With the Thunder King Seal, there wouldn't be any risk in the evolution of the Thunder Body. Damn it. Pass down my order. All the void-shedding cultivators in the Thunder World above Grade 8 are to be mobilized. We must find the Palace Lord in the entire Eastern Heaven. If anything happens to the Palace Lord, I want all of you to be buried with her. Appearance, unknown. Whereabouts, uncertain. Divine ability, strange. Could this person really be found? Chapter 858. The Savage Battlefield was also known as the Ancient Wild Domain. It was a world that was even more ancient than the 4 heavens and 9 worlds. Each of the 4 heavens had a portal that allowed one to enter this ancient domain. The land of demon spirit in the upper world also had a portal that allowed one to enter this place. Since ancient times, the cultivators of the 4 heavens had already engaged in more than 400 world wars with the demon race of the upper world. Every time a world war broke out, countless cultivators and demons would be buried here. Every blade of grass and every tree contained the battle intent of the ancient cultivators that would never dissipate. It was easy to enter the savage battlefield as one just needed to pass through the portal. However, it was not easy to leave the savage battlefield. The portals that led to the exit would only appear once every 10 years in each of the domains. Therefore, even if one had the battle order, they could not leave at any time. The savage battlefield was divided into 42 savage domains. Among them, the demon race occupied 7 savage domains while the cultivators of the 4 heavens occupied 5 savage domains. As for the remaining savage domains, they were considered unoccupied regions with countless ancient savage beasts. As soon as Ning Fan entered the portal, he and Lu Yen were teleported to the Gauchian savage domain, which was one of the 5 domains of the human race. The Gauchian savage domain was once occupied by the demon race. However, during a world war a few million years ago, the cultivators of the 4 heavens occupied this domain. What entered Ning Fan's sight was a blood-red continent that was filled with sandstorms. Under the dust, the remains of ancient cultivators and broken weapons could be seen everywhere. A desolate battle intent spread across his face. Ning Fan did not know which savage domain he was teleported to by the portal. As Ning Fan made a series of hand seals with his 10 fingers, a drizzle immediately fell from heaven and earth and dispersed into the distance. Ever since he attained the first round of the 5 spirits, the range of his heaven-prying rain technique's perception had increased once again. With Ning Fan's current cultivation base, his spirit sense rain could directly cover an entire mid-grade star domain. However, such a wide range of spirit sense could only cover a corner of the Gauchian savage domain. One had to admit that the entire ancient wild domain was very big. In this corner of the domain, Ning Fan sensed a total of 45 cities. Half of them were destroyed by the flames of war and had already become ruins. As for the other cities, there were more or less cultivators stationed there. The time when Ning Fan entered the ancient wilderness domain was not the period of the realm war. Nowadays, large-scale battles between the divine race and the demon race rarely broke out in the ancient wilderness domain. Lu Yan's cultivation base was merely at the fourth heavenly layer of the void fragmentation realm. She had never participated in a world war before. She had also never entered the ancient desolate domain before. When she first entered this place, she was naturally shocked by the vast battle intent in the air. She did not know why Ning Fan had the expedition order and why he came to the ancient wild domain. However, she did not ask any of these questions. Let's find a city of cultivators to gather some information about the ancient wild desolate region. A few demons have invaded a city in the north. Ning Fan withdrew his rain technique. After remaining silent for a while, he suddenly rolled up his sleeves and turned into a golden ray of light together with Lu Yan. They flew towards the city that was being invaded by the demon race. The Mulan city was a cultivation city located at the border of the Gauchan barbarian domain. There were only a few thousand cultivators guarding the city. Most of them were at the nascent soul realm and divine transformation realm. There were only slightly more than 20 void refinement realm cultivators and 5 void fragmentation realm cultivators. All of them were permanent residents of the barbarian region. They were different from the foreign cultivators. This was a small city. It was just a temporary resting place for the experts of the four heavens during the World War. There were no powerful cultivators guarding the city. The city lord of this city was just a rogue immortal. However, the grand formation of the city was destroyed half an hour ago. The rogue immortal city lord was also killed by the demon cultivators. There were only 4 demon cultivators who attacked the Milan city. However, all of them were rogue demons. The leader of the group was a burly rogue demon who was only half a step away from the mortal profound realm. With the death of the Mulan city lord, who else in this city can be our opponent? This old man loves to torture and kill humans the most. A bull-headed burly man with eyes as large as copper bells sneered incessantly. He was rampaging in the Milan city. Every time he made a move, a large number of low-level cultivators would fall. A void fragmentation realm human tried to stop the bull-headed demon from continuing his slaughter, but he was swallowed whole by the bull-headed demon. Humph! Brother Bull, don't kill all the female cultivators in this city. This old man still wants to keep a few to play with. A male snake demon immediately snorted in dissatisfaction when he saw the bull-headed demon slaughtering without restraint. He was also one of the 4 demons who attacked the city. It was only a matter of time for the 4 rogue demons to slaughter this small city. The remaining 4 void fragmentation realm cultivators in the city revealed a look of despair. During the World War, there were often small border cities that were invaded by demons. With the strength of this city, they were afraid that they would be completely annihilated before the reinforcements sent by the 4 heavens sect arrived. Is there no escape? A beautiful woman with the highest cultivation base among the 4 void fragmentation realm cultivators smiled bitterly. On the opposite side, the male snake demon had already discovered her and was flying towards her with an evil smile. With her cultivation base at the 3rd heavenly layer of the void fragmentation realm, it would be difficult for her to escape humiliation if she fell into the hands of this demon. Instead of becoming a human cauldron, it's better to die in battle and preserve my innocence. The beautiful woman's eyes suddenly revealed a fearless expression. The same expression was also seen in the eyes of countless cultivators who were guarding the city. In the cultivation world, not every cultivator was afraid of death. In this ancient desolate domain, countless cultivators who had been wandering between life and death all year round were not afraid of death. The reason why the battle intent in this ancient desolate domain was so strong was because there were too many cultivators who would rather die than submit. Ignite! At this moment, the beautiful woman suddenly shouted and ignited her primordial spirit. In the city, countless cultivators also ignited their primordial spirits at this moment. A bunch of lunatics. Including the male snake demon, the 4 rogue demons immediately revealed a gloomy expression. In theory, it was very difficult for a 3rd heavenly layer void fragmentation realm cultivator and thousands of spirit-severing realm cultivators to hurt a rogue demon. However, if they were to fight to the death, They might be able to cause some injuries to the 4 rogue demons. The male snake demon also did not plan to capture the human cauldron. At this moment, he only planned to kill all the cultivators in this city in the shortest time possible to avoid any unexpected changes. The 4 rogue demons were prepared to go all out. Countless cultivators in the city were also prepared to fight to the death. However, at this moment, the sky suddenly became densely covered with dark clouds. Torrential rain poured down and lightning flashed across the sky. In the midst of the thunderstorm, a golden light suddenly flashed above the city. A man and a woman appeared. The woman had a 4th heavenly layer void fragmentation realm cultivation base. There was no doubt that she was a human. As for the man, he wore a ghost mask and his silver hair fluttered in the wind. However, the silver-haired man waved his hand and the primordial spirit flames of countless cultivators who ignited their primordial spirits were extinguished. In an instant, the entire Milan city was filled with the sound of people sucking in cold air. A second-step cultivator. Only a second-step cultivator can easily extinguish the primordial spirit flames of a first-step cultivator with their great divine ability. The beautiful woman's despairing eyes suddenly had a glimmer of hope. At this moment, the 4 rogue demons revealed a terrified expression. Not good. A second-step old monster of the human race has arrived. Run quickly. The 4 rogue demons did not say anything and immediately turned into streaks of light and fled. The silver-haired man waved his hand and the rain intense swept across. The 4 rogue demons immediately let out a blood-curdling scream as their bodies dissolved into a pool of blood. With a wave of his palm, the 4 demon souls immediately fell into Ning Fan's hand. Without saying anything, he began to search their souls and memories. Then, he raised his hand and crushed the 4 demon souls. These 4 demon souls were useless as they were not primordial spirits. They could not be used to cast the spirit bombarding technique. The moment the 4 demon souls fell, the token of Ning Fan's immortal guard flickered with a faint light. That was the sign of increasing battle achievements. With more battle achievements, one's immortal rank would gradually increase. Perhaps one day, Ning Fan's 8th grade immortal guard would be promoted to 7th grade deacon. I have obtained a lot of information about the ancient domain from the memories of these 4 demons. Ning Fan muttered to himself. The reason why he killed these demons was not because he was close to the human race or hated the demon race. He just admired the cultivators of this city and hated the 4 rogue demons. Compared to the experts who killed for fun, he preferred the weak who would rather die than submit. The remnant souls of the fallen cultivators faded away little by little, unable to enter the reincarnation cycle. The ancient desolate domain was an ancient world that was outside the reincarnation cycle. Even first-step cultivators would not be able to enter the reincarnation cycle if they died here. It's a pity to let these unyielding remnant souls dissipate. The heavenly Tao reincarnation cycle won't accept you. I will. Ning Fan waved his sleeve. The power of the remnant souls in heaven and earth immediately flew into his sleeve. Ordinary cultivators could not see the remnant souls. Naturally, they would not understand what Ning Fan was doing. No one knew that Ning Fan's hand was hidden in his sleeve. He summoned the Fu Li spirit wheel and kept these unyielding remnant souls into the spirit wheel. The unyielding remnant will of these remnant souls could slowly increase the grade of the Fu Li spirit wheel. As for the Fu Li spirit wheel, it could construct the reincarnation cycle and keep their remnant souls. Not only the remnant souls of the demon race could enter the Fu Li spirit wheel. With Ning Fan's identity as a cultivator of 3 races, the human race could also enter it. If one day, Ning Fan's spirit wheel reaches grand completion, he could bestow new life to these remnant souls like immortal sovereign Zido. Thank you for saving our lives, Senior. May I ask if Senior is a cultivator from the 4C sect who came to help us? The beautiful woman led the other 3 void fragmentation realm experts forward and greeted Ning Fan respectfully. No. Senior is a foreign cultivator who is passing by. The beautiful woman was slightly surprised. This is my first time entering the desolate ancient region. I want to rest in this city and obtain some information about the desolate ancient region. Can you tell me some information about the ancient region? Ning Fan asked politely. When they heard that Ning Fan actually wanted to rest in the Mulan city temporarily, the beautiful woman and the others were overjoyed. In recent days, the Mulan city and other border cities were often attacked by small-scale demons. With Ning Fan guarding the city, the Mulan city would be as stable as Mount Tai. Of course. Ning Fan's request was readily accepted by the beautiful woman and the others. Each of them took out a jade slip and recorded all the memories about the desolate ancient region in their minds. Then they handed it to Ning Fan. Ning Fan received the jade slip and glanced at it indifferently. Then he kept it and asked, "Do you have a complete map of the desolate ancient region?" To be honest with Senior, the terrain of the desolate ancient region will change every few hundred years. A few of the desolate ancient region will even change their positions. We only have ancient maps from tens of thousands of years ago. The geographical records of the desolate ancient region are very inaccurate. It's fine. Give me a copy. The beautiful woman took out another jade slip and recorded the map of the desolate ancient region in it. Then she respectfully handed it to Ning Fan. Ning Fan nodded with satisfaction. Then he brought Lu Yen into the city and opened up a cave dwelling on a small mountain in the north of the city. Lu Yen stayed in the cave dwelling at the side, wholeheartedly harmonizing her spirit with the red jade astrolabe. Ning Fan stayed in his cave dwelling, sorting out the information about the desolate ancient region. Gradually, he had a preliminary understanding of the desolate ancient region. There were 42 regions in the desolate ancient region. 7 of them were occupied by demons, 5 of them were occupied by the 4 heavens. The remaining 30 barbarian regions were unoccupied regions where the savage beasts ran rampant. Savage beasts were the native creatures of the desolate ancient region. They were neither human nor demon nor devil. Savage beasts in human form couldn't cultivate for the rest of their lives. They were as weak as mortals. They built cities and lived there, struggling at death's door in the desolate ancient region. They were called barbarians. If a barbarian turned into a beast, he would lose all his memories and turn into a powerful savage beast. He wouldn't recognize anyone and would kill like a devil. During the non-World War period, the divine race and the demon race would rarely send experts above the void abandonment realm to participate in the war. Even Life Immortal and Du Zhen were rarely dispatched. However, small-scale battles like the one in Milan City were not rare. The battle intent in the Gochen barbarian region was extremely strong. It was almost 10 times stronger than the Broken Halberd Peak. However, this wasn't the place with the strongest battle intent in the desolate ancient region. The unoccupied barbarian regions had the strongest battle intent. Once a world war breaks out, these unoccupied barbarian regions would be used as battlefields by the divine race and the demon race. Large-scale battles would usually take place in these regions. In other words, the best place to cultivate the war god art isn't the Gochen barbarian region. Forget it. Let's try to condense the fierce origin crystals here first. Ning Fan couldn't help but look forward to it. The reason why he came back to the desolate ancient region to cultivate the war god art was because he had modified the cultivation method of the war god art. In the past, the war god art required him to use the crystal condensation technique to condense the battle crystals. The crystal condensation technique of the war god art that was modified by Ning Fan was replaced by the fierce origin technique. The fierce origin technique was the ultimate technique of the ancient fierce origin sect. It was created by the master of ancient chaos, Great Saint Lu Yuan. This technique could condense Dao laws into fierce origin crystals. It was used by ancient chaos to cultivate the 27 yin-yang. This crystal condensation technique was countless times stronger than the crystal condensation technique of the war god art. The energy contained in the fierce origin crystals was also countless times stronger than the battle crystals. After Ning Fan cultivated the first transformation of the war god art, he could already use the crystal condensation technique of the war god art to condense low-grade battle crystals. However, it was extremely difficult to condense mid-grade battle crystals. With the Fierce Origin technique, Ning Fan could barely condense low-grade Fierce Origin crystals in a place where the battle intent was extremely strong. The battle intent contained in the low-grade Fierce Origin crystals was almost comparable to the high-grade battle crystals of the Luo family. In the Luo family, there were very few high-grade battle crystals. Only the family head, Luo Shi, could condense them. Even Ning Fan could not condense them. However, Ning Fan found another way and used the Fierce Origin crystals to replace the battle crystals. It could greatly increase the speed of his cultivation of the War God art. The only problem was that the intensity of the battle intent in the Broken Halberd Peak was not strong enough to condense the Tao laws of battle. Hence, he could not condense Fierce Origin crystals. That was why Ning Fan chose to come to the ancient wild domain to cultivate the War God art. This place should be enough to condense low-grade Fierce Origin crystals. Ning Fan took out a Tao crystal from his storage pouch and casually took one of them. Then, he displayed the Fierce Origin technique. His finger seals of the Fierce Origin technique were still very rusty. Even though the battle intent in the ancient wild domain was sufficient, it was still difficult for him to condense Fierce Origin crystals. Failure. 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 The Tao crystals were continuously crushed into powder and scattered on the ground, covering the ground like a layer of lime. Ning Fan's journey of creating Fierce Origin crystals could be said to be bumpy. After 10 days, he actually did not manage to condense a single low-grade Fierce Origin crystal. Ning Fan gradually gained some insights into the usage of the Fierce Origin technique. On the 11th day, Ning Fan finally condensed his first low-grade Fierce Origin crystal. On the 12th day, Ning Fan condensed 3 low-grade Fierce Origin crystals. On the 13th day, Ning Fan condensed 10 low-grade Fierce Origin crystals. After that, Ning Fan could almost condense more than 10 low-grade Fierce Origin crystals every day. He rarely failed. 3 months later, there was already a small mountain of hundreds of Fierce Origin crystals in front of Ning Fan. Looking at the small mountain of Fierce Origin crystals, Ning Fan smiled satisfyingly. With these low-grade Fierce Origin crystals as a guarantee, his cultivation speed of the War God art would definitely surpass anyone in the Luo family. Besides, there was another benefit of devouring the Fierce Origin crystals. The Fierce Origin crystals that had been infused with battle intent could not only be used to cultivate the War God art, it could also be used to cultivate the yin-yang of battle. This time, Ning Fan specially paid a visit to the Luo family before leaving the Eastern Sea. The old ancestors of the Luo family gave him a cultivation method. That cultivation method was a 9-star cultivation method. It was the main cultivation method of the Battle King Luoho. It was called the Invincible Scripture. It was a cultivation method that focused on cultivating battle intent. It was extremely powerful when combined with the secret technique of the War God art. Instead of devouring the Fierce Origin crystals to cultivate the War God art, Ning Fan first took out the Invincible Scripture and began to comprehend and cultivate it. 3 months later, Ning Fan mastered the initial stage of the Invincible Scripture and began to condense the fledgling battle stars. 7 days later, the third divine star of battle intent appeared on his glabella. However, it was still in the fledgling state. Only now did Ning Fan begin to devour the Fierce Origin crystals. The energy contained in low-grade Fierce Origin crystals was comparable to high-grade battle crystals. Moreover, it was as if there was no limit to the number of crystals he could devour. This was one of the great benefits of cultivating the Fierce Origin technique. For 3 whole years, Ning Fan did not step out of his house and devoured hundreds of low-grade Fierce Origin crystals. After 3 years of bitter cultivation, there were a total of 102 traces of battle flames in his body. With 99 traces of battle flames, he could cultivate the second transformation of the War God art. The quantity of battle flames in his body was enough for him to cultivate the second transformation. The only thing he lacked was a trace of comprehension and an opportunity. In order to break through to the second transformation of the War God art, he would need a bloody battle in order to comprehend it. In any case, Ning Fan was already proud of himself for being able to reach the second transformation within 3 years. Besides, when he almost completed the cultivation of the second transformation, 1,000th of the fledgling battle stars on his glabella had already evolved into yin-yang battle stars. At the same time, 1,000th of the yin-yang battle stars had also been completed. 3 years of bitter cultivation can only increase the progress of the yin-yang battle stars by 1,000th. When I cultivated the rain yin-yang battle technique, I only devoured a piece of fierce origin crystal and successfully cultivated the rain yin-yang battle technique. However, that piece of fierce origin crystal was of the heaven grade. The grades of fierce origin crystals were divided into low grade, mid grade, high grade, supreme grade. Heaven grade was the non-attributed fierce origin crystal that surpassed the supreme grade. The cultivation speed of a low-grade fierce origin crystal was naturally much slower than a heaven-grade fierce origin crystal. Those barbarian regions where the wild beasts roam freely were the main battlefields of the past world wars. The remaining battle intent is much stronger. Perhaps I can condense a mid-grade fierce origin crystal there. A mid-grade fierce origin crystal was extremely beneficial to the cultivation of the war god art and the yin-yang battle technique. Forget it. After breaking through the bottleneck of the second transformation, I will go to the other barbarian regions to find out, what is that sound? Ning Fan's expression suddenly changed and he walked out of the cave. At this moment, Lu Yen was so shocked that she walked out of the cave. Countless cultivators in the Milan city also walked out of their caves in succession. For the past 3 years, Ning Fan had been guarding the Milan city, ensuring that there were no wars and no demons dared to invade the city. But at this moment, there was a large group of powerful chi with monstrous killing intent approaching from afar. Their target was the Milan city. Among those powerful chi, there was no lack of life immortal realm chi. There was even a chi that was as strong as an early crossing true realm chi. The entire Milan city immediately fell into chaos. Could it be that the demon race had launched a large-scale invasion? It's not the demon race. It's the barbarian beasts. The barbarian beasts are attacking the city. No one knew who was the first to see the true appearance of the barbarian army and exclaimed. For a moment, all the cultivators in the city were shocked. In the Go-Chun barbarian region, all the barbarian beasts had been killed. It was impossible for such a large group of barbarian beasts to appear. This group of barbarian beasts came from the other barbarian regions. Why did they come all the way to the Milan city? The beast tide was moving too fast. Unless one was a second-step cultivator, no one could escape from the beast tide. Senior, our Milan city is about to fall. What should we do? At their wits' end, the beautiful woman and the other void fragmentation realm experts came to Ning Fan and asked for help. Although they understood that even if Ning Fan was a second-step cultivator, he could only be a life-immortal realm expert. It was impossible for him to exterminate a group of barbarian beasts by himself. However, if Ning Fan used his teleportation ability and escaped with the group of cultivators in the city, there was a high chance that they could escape from the beast tide. Fight. Ning Fan only gave a single word. With a sway of his body, he flew to the north of the Milan city and stood in front of the beast tide alone. He needed a bloody battle to break through to the second transformation of his battle art. If these barbarian beasts came to seek their deaths, he naturally wouldn't let them go. However, what made Ning Fan speechless was that when he stood in front of the beast tide, a silver-haired little loli suddenly appeared in front of the beast tide. Her hands were carrying 7 to 8 wild fruits with lightning power. She was escaping with a smile on her face. Behind her, the beast tide army's eyes were bloodshot. They couldn't wait to tear her into pieces. The reason why these barbarian beasts caused the beast tide was because the holy fruits that they had guarded for many years were stolen by the silver-haired little loli. Not tasty. There's too little lightning power. Brother Food's lightning is still the best. Sigh. I've been looking for brother food in this broken place for so many years. I can only eat wild fruits to fill my stomach every day. I'm so pitiful. Ooh. The pitiful little loli was actually separated from Ning Fan when she entered the world gate that day. Both of them took different paths, She was the one who chased after Ning Fan into the ancient desolate domain. In the end, she couldn't find Ning Fan. All of a sudden, the silver-haired little lowly revealed a pleasantly surprised expression. In front of her, there was a dilapidated city of cultivators. Outside the city of cultivators was her food brother, whom she had been thinking about day and night. Hee, I finally found you. My brother Food. The silver-haired little lowly turned into a ray of lightning with a swoosh and directly crashed into Ning Fan's embrace. Behind her was an army of tens of thousands of barbarian beasts. Why is it you? Ning Fan's forehead was filled with black lines. He actually reunited with this little lowly who had the 9-revolution lightning physique in the ancient desolate domain? No, this woman must have been following him all the way here. Her goal must be the shattered lightning in his lightning diagram. Chapter 859. Brother Food. Xian has been looking for you for a long time. I finally found you. The little Lolita rubbed herself against Ning Fan's chest excitedly. The smell of lightning power on Ning Fan's body was too fragrant. Ning Fan was speechless. The little Lolita had already confessed everything before he could ask. Sure enough, she had followed him all the way here. Roar. Following a beastly roar that sounded like a command, the black tide of beasts stopped 300 meters away from Ning Fan. Tens of thousands of beasts had blood-red eyes and low spiritual wisdom. Only a few of them had higher cultivation base and had some spiritual wisdom in their eyes. The blood-red eyes of these beasts gave Ning Fan a sense of familiarity, but it didn't feel right. It was like the feeling of tribulation sense, but it was different. Alien cultivator, hand over this girl and I will leave you with an intact corpse. Among the beasts, a mountain-sized black-scaled barbaric dragon said coldly. It was the only early Dujin savage beast among the beasts, and the only one that could speak human language. Its eyes were filled with ferocity, looking at Ning Fan as if he was already a dead man. No matter what, it would never let Ning Fan go. Although the beasts came for the holy fruit, they wouldn't mind killing some aliens along the way. To these beasts, whether it was the cultivators of the four heavens or the demon race, they were all aliens and their enemies. Leave me with an intact corpse? That depends on whether you have the ability to do so. A cold light flashed in Ning Fan's eyes. He put down the little person in his arms and said indifferently, I will deal with your matter later. Go hide first. Although the silver-haired little Lolita could unleash an intermediate shedding void lightning ability, her combat awareness was too weak. It wouldn't be surprising if she was eaten by a life-immortal savage beast if she was careless. Brother Food, hurry up. I will find a place to eat some fruits first. Whoosh, the little Lolita turned into a ray of lightning and disappeared from where she stood. She reappeared on the roof of the tallest house in Mulan City, swinging her bare feet and munching on a wild fruit with a smile. The moment the little Lolita left, the beasts started to attack. Countless beasts surrounded Ning Fan like a tidal wave. As for the black-scaled barbaric dragon, it opened its huge mouth and a black-red light condensed into an aurora in its mouth. Along with an air-piercing sound, the black-red light beam shattered the vast sky in an instant and landed on Ning Fan's body. With Ning Fan as the epicenter, the ground immediately began to crack open on both sides. Destructive waves spread out and countless savage beasts were attacked indiscriminately. Savage beasts were merciless. They could kill their companions without batting an eyelid. Not good. It was brutal flash. Senior. The beautiful lady and the other 3 void fragmentation realm experts immediately panicked. That black and red aurora was known as brutal flash. It was a unique skill of the wild beasts above the true crossing realm, and it had an extremely great destructive power. If a cultivator of the same level as a savage beast was struck by the brutal flash, there was almost no chance of survival. In their opinion, Ning Fan would most likely be killed by the brutal flash. Only Lu Yen knew that Ning Fan would never lose to a mere savage beast. In her memory, Ning Fan was old monster Shikong who could kill the profound Thunder Realm Lord. The black and red aurora was still flowing in the air, and smoke and dust filled the sky. As the wind blew, the smoke and dust dispersed. Ning Fan appeared in his white robes with his silver hair fluttering in the wind. He was unscathed. Beneath the ghost mask was a pair of cold and merciless eyes. The brutal flash of the true crossing realm savage beast. Sure enough, there's a trace of chi similar to tribulation sense in this brutal flash, but it's also different from tribulation sense. Savage beasts are formed by barbarians. When barbarians turn into beasts, they will lose their memories, become ferocious, and will no longer recognize their own kin. This behavior is just like a cultivator who has been controlled by tribulation sense. Savage Desolation Ancient Domain is a world where reincarnation is impossible. Cultivators who die here, regardless of their cultivation base, will be abandoned by reincarnation. What kind of place is this Savage Desolation Ancient Domain? Ning Fan's mind was racing. If it wasn't because he wanted to verify his guess, he wouldn't have taken the attack of the Savage Dragon. However, with the toughness of his heavenly devil body, he wouldn't suffer any injuries even if he took the attack head-on. Moreover, after taking the attack head-on, he actually gained a lot of insights about the brutal flash. Amidst the gale, Ning Fan formed hand seals with all 10 of his fingers and displayed the first transformation of the battle art. The power of 102 traces of war fire immediately gathered in his heart and quickly flowed into his body, causing his ancient devil cultivation base to skyrocket. However, due to the suppression of the innate ghost face, the transformation of the war god art didn't turn his silver hair red. Therefore, only a few people could recognize that Ning Fan had displayed the war god art of the Luo clan of the Eastern Heaven. This might be the other strength of the innate ghost face. As soon as the war god art that was close to the second transformation was displayed, Ning Fan's ancient devil cultivation base immediately broke through the second nirvana of the heavenly devil realm and rose all the way to the peak of the second nirvana of the heavenly devil realm. At this moment, Ning Fan could fight a late true crossing realm expert with just the strength of his physical body. With the cultivation of dual body and law cultivation, Ning Fan could definitely be considered as an expert among the late true crossing realm experts. This was under the precondition that he hadn't unlocked the yin and yang sealing rain. At the end of the day, the brutal flash is a divine ability that is similar to tribulation sense. With my heavenly devil body and the power of the tribulation blood in my body, I should be able to display the brutal flash. A trace of the power of the tribulation blood in his body was activated by Ning Fan. Immediately, a scarlet light of tribulation sense appeared in his eyes. All of a sudden, Ning Fan raised his hand and pointed a finger. Immediately, a black-red aurora burst out from his finger and swept across the surrounding savage beasts. The purity of this aurora was far beyond the level of ordinary savage beasts. Ning Fan possessed the true tribulation blood in his body. His brutal flash was incomparable to the savage beasts. With his peak heavenly devil second nirvana realm physical body, the power of the brutal flash was enough to shock any late true crossing realm expert. Brutal flash. Could it be that the true body of that senior is actually a savage beast? How is that possible? Savage beasts in human form don't have any cultivation base. How could this senior be a savage beast? Among the four heavens experts, there are occasionally old monsters who are interested in the brutal flash of the savage beasts. They would create a similar divine ability. This brutal flash should be a divine ability that this senior has comprehended and created. That makes sense. The power of this senior's brutal flash is obviously stronger than that of the savage beasts. It's obviously not an ordinary brutal flash. Discussions were everywhere in Mulan City. Among the group of savage beasts, their emotions began to flow. These savage beasts were fierce, cold, and merciless. Even if they saw Shi Kong and thought-breaking old monster, they would still risk their lives to bite them. However, when they saw Ning Fan's brutal flash of tribulation sense, they understood what fear was for the first time in their lives. To them, the power of the tribulation blood in Ning Fan's body was like the heavenly might. The brutal flash displayed by Jie Shui actually had the oppressive feeling of a superior being. A peak ghost profound realm turtle-shaped savage beast was too frightened that it forgot to dodge the attack of the brutal flash. When the brutal flash arrived, it was blasted into pieces of minced meat. A late ghost profound realm bear-shaped savage beast prostrated on the ground, trembling. It wanted to resist the attack of the brutal flash, but it couldn't move because it was too frightened. The eyes of the early true crossing realm black-scaled barbaric dragon no longer had a trace of ferocity. Instead, there was only fear. For the first time in its life, the thought of escaping rose in its mind. In its bloodline memory, a terrifying term emerged. That term was used to describe experts like Ning Fan. At this moment, it no longer dared to stay in this place. It no longer dared to say that it wouldn't leave Ning Fan's corpse intact. It only wanted to escape. The black-scaled barbaric dragon flapped its giant wings, turned around and fled. Unfortunately, it couldn't escape. The arrival of the brutal flash was its tribulation. This tribulation was like the heavens, there was no way for it to escape. As the black-red brutal flash shone on its body, its dragon scales that could withstand the attack of a late heavenly immortal treasure was completely broken at this moment. The dragon scales were broken. The dragon blood was dried up. The dragon bones were broken. The dragon life was extinguished. It only had time to let out a mournful wail. In the next moment, everything of it was buried in the brutal flash. Calamity, emissary. That was the last memory that emerged in its bloodline, although it didn't understand what the calamity emissary meant. Tens of thousands of savage beasts were shrouded by the brutal flash, wailing incessantly. The sound of the beast's body exploding kept spreading far and wide on the empty ancient battlefield. When the brutal flash's aurora dissipated, there was no trace of the savage beasts left. There was only a rain of blood that filled the sky and stained the soil of the ancient battlefield. All the savage beasts were killed by Ning Fan's brutal flash. Hiss! The entire Milan city was in dead silence. None of the 4 void fragmentation experts had expected that Ning Fan was an old monster whose strength was comparable to a late true crossing realm expert. With just a single strike, he had annihilated tens of thousands of savage beasts. Lu Yan's beautiful eyes were filled with shock. This was her first time seeing such an unstoppable side of Ning Fan. That day in the Heavenly Moon Sect, she only saw Ning Fan killing a few small fries. Although she knew that Ning Fan had killed the profound Thunder Realm Lord, she didn't see it with her own eyes. Now that she saw Ning Fan's great ability to annihilate tens of thousands of savage beasts, she naturally felt a visual impact. Even the silver-haired little Lolita who was wholeheartedly munching on the holy fruit frowned and said in surprise, "What kind of power is this? I've never seen it before. I've never seen it before." Looking at the ancient battlefield that could not be destroyed any further, Ning Fan was incomparably shocked. Is this the power of tribulation sense? A power that is comparable to the samsara force. If I had more tribulation blood in my body, the power of this brutal flash would be much greater. Ning Fan patted his storage pouch and took out a sealed jade box. Inside the jade box was the blood of the innate lightning spirit. This tribulation blood was 10 times more than what he had in his body. If he could refine it, perhaps this brutal flash can become a great divine ability that I can use to dominate the world in the future. Ning Fan's eyes flickered and kept the jade box. Now was not the right time to refine the tribulation blood. After the brutal flash, the bottleneck of the second transformation of Ning Fan's battle art had loosened. He only needed to go into seclusion once to break through the second transformation. Going into seclusion was not an urgent matter. The most important thing now was to figure out what the silver-haired little Loli was trying to do. He took a step forward, disappearing from the ancient battlefield outside the city and reappearing in the Milan city. Ning Fan jumped onto the roof of one of the houses and walked towards the silver-haired little Lolita with a slight frown on his face. This little Lolita was not an enemy. Otherwise, Ning Fan would not show mercy to her. However, no matter what, this little Loli was an existence comparable to the middle stage of shedding void. She had been pestering him like this, and it was not something that could be easily ignored. "Brother Food, you're amazing. Xian admires you so much. Seeing Ning Fan walking towards her, the silver-haired little Lolita jumped up and ran into Ning Fan's arms. Her speed was so fast that Ning Fan could not defend against it. Feeling the little face rubbing against his chest, Ning Fan felt a headache coming on. He sighed softly and said straightforwardly, "Are you so persistent in following me because of those thunder fragments?" Yes. The thunder fruits of the extreme lightning palace are not delicious. The fruits here are also not delicious. Brother Food's thunder fragments are the best. The moment Ning Fan mentioned the thunder fragments, the little Lolita's saliva immediately flowed all over his body. Of course, my thunder fragments are delicious. That was the thunder fragments left behind by the innate lightning spirit after its death. It was something that could only be found by luck but not by searching for it. Ning Fan looked at the silly little Lolita in his arms and his mind was racing. From the words of the silly little Lolita, Ning Fan understood that she came from the extreme lightning palace. After thinking about it, Ning Fan immediately understood that only a place like the extreme lightning palace could raise an intermediate shedding void Lolita. The evolution of your lightning body requires too much lightning body. My thunder fragments aren't enough for you to eat, and those thunder fragments are also useful to me. I can't give them all to you. Ning Fan said straightforwardly. Give them to me, give them to me. I really want to eat them. The little Lolita desperately rubbed against Ning Fan's chest, but Ning Fan was indifferent. Suddenly, the little Lolita thought of something and gave an evil smile. She lifted her little head and kissed Ning Fan's face. Then, she smiled complacently. Little Ruru said that I can't kiss a man casually. If I kiss him, he will have to take responsibility for me. I kissed you so I am yours. You have to take responsibility for me. If you don't give me food, I will starve to death. You are not taking responsibility. Female scoundrel. These 3 words suddenly appeared in Ning Fan's mind. He didn't know where did this little Lolita learn all these dirty things. Kissing a man means that he will have to take responsibility for her. Why? I can only give you 1/10 of those thunder fragments at most. In the future, don't pester me anymore. Ning Fan almost had the urge to throw the little Lolita out of his arms, but after thinking for a while, he resisted the urge and compromised. 1/10 of the thunder fragments would be considered as forming a good relationship with the extreme lightning palace. It's not enough. Xian wants to eat more. I want to eat all of them. The little Lolita shouted. Don't push your luck. Ning Fan's eyes turned sharp. Although he wouldn't be cold-blooded and heartless when facing a cultivator whom he had no enmity with, he wouldn't allow himself to be manipulated by the other party. Even if the other party was a little Lolita, but since the other party was old monster Shikong, it was needless to say that she was an old monster who was a few hundred times older than Ning Fan. Whoa, you are so fierce. You are even fiercer than little Qian. The little Lolita cried loudly in Ning Fan's arms. Seeing Ning Fan's indifference, the little Lolita wiped her tears and said angrily, Brother Food, you have no sympathy. I am already your woman, but you don't care about me at all. Let me eat all of those thunder fragments, it's not a big deal. I can help you fight. I can protect you. I am very strong. The little Lolita jumped out of Ning Fan's arms and waved her little fist confidently. You protect me. In exchange for the thunder fragments? Can you do it? Ning Fan's eyes moved slightly. This suggestion seemed to be not bad. If he were to head to the other barbarian regions for cultivation in the future, Ning Fan would definitely need someone to protect him during his seclusion. He couldn't count on Lu Yen. The Shi Kong puppet was a puppet of desire. It could only be controlled by Ning Fan personally in order to fight. If he had this little girl who was comparable to a mid-Shi Kong puppet to look after him, Ning Fan could go into seclusion without worry. Humph! Don't look down on me. I am really strong. Let me tell you. A few years ago, I even killed a red-haired great devil king. He was very strong. What was his name again? That's right, he was called Big Mushroom. She accidentally remembered Sun Luo's name wrongly. Alright, I got it. You killed a big mushroom. You are very strong. Ning Fan was slightly speechless. He didn't know that there was a red-haired great devil king called Big Mushroom in Eastern Heaven. Humph. You don't believe me. I am really strong. I had a dream yesterday. I dreamt that I have an elder sister called Little Momo. She has a divine brush. Whoever she writes on will die. She can write you to death with just one stroke. The little girl said angrily, Yes, you have an elder sister who is very strong. She can write me to death with just one stroke. Ning Fan was speechless. What? Just let me eat it, my good brother. It was useless to say anything. The little girl sat on the ground and acted shamelessly. Ning Fan ignored the little girl's cries. In his heart, he was considering if he should let the little girl eat all the thunder fragments. His original intention was to condense the fierce elemental crystal with the thunder fragments to cultivate the yin-yang lightning technique. However, judging from the progress of the yin-yang lightning technique, the thunder fragments were far from enough for the cultivation of the yin-yang lightning technique. It wasn't impossible to let the little girl eat it. If you promise to let me eat the thunder fragments, I will sleep with you. The little girl finally threw away all her principles. Ning Fan's forehead was full of black lines. He didn't think that this little girl with the body of 6 or 7 years old was qualified to sleep with him. Forget it. You don't have to sleep with me. I can give you the thunder fragments, but you have to stay by my side temporarily. When necessary, you have to protect me. If you promise, I can give you 1/10 of the thunder fragments now. After you finish eating them, I will give you some more. Promise. I promise. The shameless little girl's saliva flowed out and she agreed decisively. Take it and follow me. Ning Fan pointed his finger and immediately extracted 1/10 of the thunder force. He sealed it into a jade box and gave it to the little girl. The little girl took the jade box and was so happy that she almost became drunk. She followed Ning Fan and walked towards Lu Yen and the others. The entire Mulan city was silent. Everyone's eyes were fixed on Ning Fan. They didn't even dare to breathe loudly. Senior, who is this little girl? She is quite cute. Lu Yen looked at the silver-haired little girl curiously. She will follow us in the future. You can just call her Xian Xian. That seems to be her name. Ning Fan answered indifferently. How do you know my name is Xian Xian? The little girl was startled. You've said it a few times before. Ning Fan's face was filled with black lines. He realized that this little girl was a little muddle-headed, a little crazy, a little shameless, and a little out of her mind. The little girl was given to Lu Yen to take care of by Ning Fan. After the beast tide subsided, he went into seclusion again. This time, his seclusion lasted for a total of 4 months. During these 4 months, Ning Fan not only refined the tribulation blood of the innate lightning spirit but also completely mastered the second transformation of his battle arts. For months later, Ning Fan and the others left Mulan City and headed towards the unconquered barbarian regions. The few unconquered barbarian regions near the North Star barbarian region did not have particularly strong battle intent. The further they flew towards the north, the stronger the battle intent in the air. In the sky above a barbarian region that was filled with ancient forests, Ning Fan kept his traveling light and descended with Lu Yen and the little girl. The intensity of the battle intent in this ancient forest could be ranked among the top 3 in the entire wild ancient region. It was one of the main battlefields of countless realm wars. They should be able to condense mid-grade fierce elemental crystals here. Roar. The moment Ning Fan and the others stepped into the ancient forest, the roars of tens of beasts with powerful auras resounded from the depths of the forest. The owners of these roars were all wild beasts above the Dujin realm. The moment Ning Fan and the others stepped into the forest, they already had killing intent towards them. Wild beasts had always been domineering. Anyone who trespasses their territory would be killed without mercy. Ning Fan frowned slightly. Just as he was about to attack, the little girl beside him volunteered and stepped forward. Big brother, go and cultivate these ferocious beasts. Leave them to Xian Xian. Before her voice faded away, the little girl had already turned into lightning with a swoosh and dashed into the depths of the ancient forest. Immediately, the miserable cries of wild beasts could be heard from all directions. Only then did Ning Fan realize that when the little girl became serious, her battle awareness was unusually strong. In a daze, Ning Fan seemed to have seen such a valiant figure before, but he could not recall it. Chapter 860. All the savage beasts in the ancient forest were wiped out by the little lowly alone. On a towering ancient tree in the depths of the forest, Ning Fan opened up 3 cave dwellings, one for each person. Lu Yen was nurturing the star plate while the little lowly was guarding Ning Fan. As for Ning Fan, he was wholeheartedly cultivating the war god art. Ning Fan's mind slowly merged into the ancient forest. The rotten leaves on the forest were thick and had accumulated for countless years. Under these rotten leaves, one could occasionally find some skeletons of those who died in battle and some rusted magical treasures that had exhausted their spiritual power. The ancient battle intent condensed in this forest without dispersing. Ning Fan closed his eyes. He could hear the cries of countless people who died unyieldingly. Fight, fight, fight. The golden spears and armored horses of the past could no longer be found. However, the battle intent in this place was immortal. Ning Fan gained a deeper understanding of the war god art. Battle intent. Battle intent. The word intent was an undying will, 1 day, 2 days, 3 days. After an unknown amount of time, Ning Fan's mind had completely merged with the battle intent of this place. At this moment, he finally opened his eyes and began to use the ardent primordial technique to condense the ardent primordial crystal. What he wanted to produce here was not low-grade ardent primordial crystal but mid-grade. Failure, failure, failure. Pieces of Dao crystals turned into powder in Ning Fan's hands. The difficulty of condensing mid-grade ardent crystal was much higher than low-grade ardent crystal. 1 month passed and Ning Fan was still failing continuously. 2 months passed and Ning Fan had yet to condense even half a piece of mid-grade ardent crystal. 3 months passed and Ning Fan was still failing. However, he seemed to have finally understood something. The reason why he was still unable to condense a mid-grade ardent crystal was because the battle intent here was not strong enough. At this moment, Ning Fan walked out of the cave dwelling and used the earth escape technique, sinking into the depths of the ancient forest. The crust of the ancient savage wilderness region would change once every few hundred years. The 4 heavens had been separated for hundreds of millions of years and had experienced 400 realm wars. The Earth's crust had shifted nearly 1,000,000 times. The battlefield of the realm war had long been buried deep in the Earth's crust. The battle intent there was much stronger than on the surface. That place would definitely be able to condense mid-grade ardent crystal. Ning Fan dived all the way to the end of the underground. In this place, the intensity of the battle intent was almost enough to disturb Ning Fan's steady Dao heart. At this place, Ning Fan finally condensed his first piece of mid-grade flame elemental crystal. The strength of a mid-grade flame elemental crystal's battle intent was equivalent to the supreme grade battle crystal of the Luo clan. Ever since Battle King Luo Ho fell into a deep slumber, no one had been able to condense a top-grade battle crystal. Sensing the intense battle intent within the mid-grade fire elemental crystals, Ning Fan smiled with satisfaction. In this world's core, he had been continuously condensing mid-grade fire elemental crystals along with the remains of countless ancient cultivators. For 2 whole years, Ning Fan had been condensing mid-grade fierce elemental crystals. In total, he had condensed nearly 10,000 pieces. In the next 8 years, Ning Fan returned to his abode on the ground. By refining the mid-grade fierce elemental crystals, the number of flames of war kept increasing. Within 8 years, the little lowly had finished 1/10 of the lightning fragments in her hand. Then she asked Ning Fan for another 10th. During these 8 years, apart from nurturing the star plate, Lu Yen actually had a slight resonance with the star plate. Her cultivation base improved tremendously and broke through to the 5th heavenly layer of the void fragmentation realm. After 8 years, the number of his natal war flames had already reached 1,200. As for the progress of his war yin-yang art, it had increased by 1/20th during these 8 years. The 3rd transformation of the war god art required 999 natal war flames to break through. Ning Fan's war god art was already stuck at the bottleneck of breaking through to the third transformation. He needed a battle to break through the bottleneck of the war god art. The savage beasts in the surrounding millions of li had already been wiped out by the bored little lowly. It had been 10 years since Ning Fan came to the ancient forest. 10 years had passed, and it was the first time he walked out of the ancient forest. He left the ancient forest alone, leaving Lu Yen and the little lowly in the abode for the time being. As Ning Fan willed it, dark clouds immediately covered heaven and earth. It rained continuously, and the curtain of rain gradually spread to the distance. Ning Fan spread his spirit sense far away, searching for a savage beast that he could fight. All of a sudden, Ning Fan's expression changed slightly. He kept the curtain of rain and immediately turned into a ray of golden light without any hesitation, flying towards a certain direction in the barbarian region. He didn't expect that he would meet an old friend in the ancient savage desolation domain. On a certain black swamp in the unoccupied barbarian region, there was a group of cultivators fighting and retreating. There were a total of 4 cultivators in this group. Each of them had a cultivation base above the Duzhen realm and wore a blood-red ghost mask on their heads. These 4 people were the 4 ghost-masked assassins of the Slaughter Palace. This time, they had accepted the mission of collecting barbarian corpses from the palace and entered the ancient wild region together. Their mission was to collect more than 100 barbarian corpses of the Duzhen savage beasts. Among the 4 of them, there were 3 early Duzhen savage beasts and 1 mid-Duzhen savage beast. With the combined strength of the 4 of them, it was not difficult for them to kill some early and mid-Duzhen savage beasts. Therefore, collecting the barbarian corpses would not be too difficult. The 4 of them moved stealthily. They usually looked for lone savage beasts to kill, so they had never encountered any danger. This time, the 4 of them found 2 lone savage beasts and worked together to kill them. Then they sealed the barbarian corpses and kept them. However, what they did not expect was that one of the 2 savage beasts had a strange nascent soul hidden in its body. According to the information they had collected in the past 4 days, there had never been a savage beast with a nascent soul or a beast core in its body. Since they had obtained the nascent soul of a savage beast by chance, the 4 of them did not dare to neglect it. They sealed it and prepared to bring it back to the Slaughter Palace and offer it to the sect for research. Perhaps it would be a great merit. However, they did not expect that after they sealed the strange baby, they would attract the killing intent of all the savage beasts in the vicinity. Behind the 4 of them, there were already more than 20 Duzhen savage beasts. 4 of them were chasing after the 4 of them. The number of savage beasts was still increasing. What exactly is that strange baby? How could it attract the killing intent of all the savage beasts in this place? The one with the highest cultivation base among the 4 of them was a mid-Duzhen white-haired old man. His face was covered by a ghost mask and his facial features could not be seen clearly. However, from his firm gaze, one could tell that he was an unyielding old man. "Senior brother you, let's just get rid of that strange baby. There are too many savage beasts here. We can't afford to offend them," a female cultivator with a ghost mask said. She was clad in a blood-colored battle armor and was a body refinement cultivator with the surname Yu. "Junior sister Yu is right. It's better to get rid of that strange baby," another middle-aged man, Du Zhen, said. "I also think that we should get rid of that strange baby as soon as possible." The last one was Du Zhen. He was a tall and sturdy man. He had just broken through to the Duzhen realm 10 years ago, so his realm was not particularly stable yet. "All right, let's get rid of that strange baby." The old man surnamed Yu sighed slightly. Although he also wanted to bring this strange baby back to earn some merit, he knew that it was not wise to continue angering the savage beasts behind him. Gritting his teeth, the old man surnamed Yu took out a sealed jade box and threw it behind him, hoping to appease the anger of the savage beasts by doing so. The jade box fell to the ground, and a lifeless strange baby immediately fell to the ground. It was only the size of a palm, but it had 2 heads. As soon as the savage beasts saw the strange baby falling to the ground, they immediately stopped and their eyes turned solemn. One of the savage beasts swallowed the strange baby and wailed at the sky for a long time. After a few breaths, all the savage beasts revealed their ferocious eyes and chased after the four of them again. Their killing intent was even stronger. This is troublesome. The strange baby has already been returned to these savage beasts, but they are still not willing to let us go. The old man surnamed Yu's eyes turned solemn. Before he could come up with a countermeasure, a large number of savage beasts were attacking from other directions. Looking at the savage beasts that were surging towards them like a tidal wave, the four ghost-masked assassins became nervous. Fight to the death. The old man surnamed Yu's eyes turned sharp and spat out these two words. The eyes of the other three also turned solemn. They knew that since the situation had developed to this stage, the only way to survive was to fight to the death and kill their way out of the encirclement. Being surrounded by nearly 70 Dujin savage beasts, the four of them already had a slim chance of survival. One after another, the savage beasts opened their huge mouths and black and red barbaric flash was condensing in their mouths. A whistling and sharp golden light rushed towards them without any reservation and suddenly appeared in the midst of the beast tide. The golden light dispersed, revealing a silver-haired youth who was also wearing a ghost mask. However, this youth's ghost mask was different from the blood-red ghost mask of the others. It was silver in color. This person's eyes were scarlet like a calamity. With just a cold glance, all the savage beasts that were not afraid of the heaven and earth revealed an expression of fear. They did not even dare to release the barbaric flash that was condensed in their mouths. An invisible pressure was condensing on the silver-haired youth's body. That pressure was hard for others to sense. Only the savage beasts could feel it. Who is this person? Just a glance is enough to subdue the group of barbarians. The three ghost-masked assassins, including the old man surnamed Yu, were all shocked. As for the cultivator surnamed Wu, his eyes were stunned. He actually felt a vague sense of familiarity from this silver-haired youth. "Brother Wu, how have you been?" The silver-haired youth smiled faintly. When this voice entered the ears of the cultivator surnamed Wu, his eyes were immediately filled with disbelief. This cultivator surnamed Wu was Wu Chen, who had a good relationship with Ning Fan. The current appearance of Ning Fan with the ghost mask and silver-haired was very different from his previous appearance. However, Wu Chen would never forget this voice for the rest of his life. Others might not know, but he knew that this silver-haired youth was Ning Fan without a doubt. The group of beasts was only shocked by Ning Fan for a moment. Following the roar of the savage beast that had swallowed the strange infant, all the savage beasts revealed ferocious eyes again. They swept away the fear in their hearts and released barbaric flash. There were a total of 75 Dujin savage beasts. The one with the highest cultivation base had even reached the late Dujin savage beast. When the 75 barbaric flashes fell, Wu Chen and the others had goosebumps. They had never felt that death was so close to them. Even Ning Fan's eyes revealed a hint of seriousness. Without saying anything, he summoned the star-defying devil armor and uttered the word, "defying." At this moment, the circulation of the great Tao seemed to have gained a slight advantage because of the power of the star-defying devil armor. Countless barbaric flashes that were rushing towards the four of them changed their direction at this moment and returned to the savage beasts that had released the barbaric flash. This scene was beyond the understanding of Wu Chen and the others. After taking a closer look, they realized that Ning Fan was wearing the legendary star-defying devil armor. Star-defying devil armor. It's a priceless treasure. The Dujin female cultivator exclaimed. The others were also shocked. Even Wu Chen, who was the most familiar with Ning Fan, had a look of horror on his face. After all the barbaric flashes bounced back, miserable shrieks were immediately heard from all directions. 6 savage beasts with slightly lower cultivation base were directly killed by the bounced barbaric flashes, while the remaining 69 savage beasts were more or less injured. Far away from them, the chi of 7 void-shedding savage beasts were crazily approaching them. Ning Fan's eyes immediately turned solemn. Void-shedding savage beasts usually stayed in their lair to cultivate. How could 7 of them appear at the same time today? With the participation of the void-shedding savage beasts, Ning Fan did not continue to fight with them. He formed hand seals with his 10 fingers and released purple mist that filled the sky. Then, he brought Wu Chen and the others and quietly escaped from the purple mist. When the purple mist dispersed and the void-shedding savage beasts arrived, Ning Fan and the others were nowhere to be seen. Between heaven and earth, countless drizzles fell from the sky. Those foreign races have escaped. Damn it. A mid-void-shedding dragon-elephant savage beast let out an angry roar. It wanted to chase after Ning Fan and the others, but it couldn't find them. It was best at tracking the chi of its target. However, as the drizzles fell, all of its chi was drowned in the rain. In a desolate valley, Ning Fan, Wu Chen and the others appeared one after another. They had escaped the pursuit of the group of beasts. Since there were 7 more void-shedding savage beasts joining the battle, Ning Fan did not continue fighting them. He was afraid that Wu Chen and the others were not strong enough and would die under the attacks of the group of beasts. If he was alone, he wouldn't mind fighting against the group of beasts. However, what surprised him was that the void-shedding savage beasts would act abnormally and run out of their lair. "We can't thank you enough for saving us." Old Man Yu and the other 2 ghost-masked assassins cupped their fists and thanked Ning Fan. They knew that if it wasn't for Ning Fan, they would have most likely died under the attacks of the group of beasts. Wu Chen also cupped his fists and thanked Ning Fan, but he did not reveal Ning Fan's identity. He naturally understood that Ning Fan was wearing the ghost mask to hide his identity. His identity was too sensitive to the cultivators of the Eastern Heaven. "It's nothing. It's not worth mentioning." Ning Fan shifted his gaze to Wu Chen and asked again. "It has been many years since we last met. I didn't expect Brother Wu to have already succeeded in crossing to the true enlightenment realm. However, why did Brother Wu come to the ancient wild region and why did you attract so many murderous tribulations?" Ning Fan had already seen Wu Chen's ghost mask before. Thus, he naturally recognized him. As soon as they heard that Ning Fan knew Wu Chen, the 3 ghost-masked assassins were stunned, but they did not ask anything. Wu Chen had already recovered from the initial shock. He was naturally happy to reunite with Ning Fan in the ancient wild region. However, when he recalled how Ning Fan saved him, he felt a little sad. There were thousands of things he wanted to talk to Ning Fan about, but it was not the right place. It's a long story. We are now staying in a barbarian city. It won't be too late to talk about it when we arrive there. Going to a barbarian city? Huh? Alright. Ning Fan followed Wu Chen and the others and flew towards a barbarian city nearby. The barbarian city was where the humanoid beasts lived. The humanoid beasts did not have any cultivation base. Be it their appearance or personality, they were no different from mortals. The barbarian city that Wu Chen and the others were staying in was called Yu Clan City. When they were still a few li away from the city, Wu Chen and the others landed on the ground. They took off their ghost masks and retracted all of their baleful chi, entering the city like mortals. Even though Ning Fan did not take off his ghost mask, he had also retracted all of his chi. From his appearance, no one could tell that he was any different from a mortal. The barbarian city was not large. There were only a few thousand barbarians living in it. There were ancient statues on all 4 sides of the city. Those statues were called barbarian statues. They had the ability to deter the barbarian beasts, preventing them from attacking the city. Without the protection of the barbarian statues, any of the barbarian beasts would be able to massacre the entire barbarian city. Is this the barbarian city where the barbarians live? Ning Fan followed behind Wu Chen and the others. They walked along the long bluestone street. He looked at the stalls of fruits and snacks along the street thoughtfully. This place was obviously a market for mortals. Occasionally, there were a few barbarian girls who were on a spring outing. They walked past Ning Fan and the others, leaving a faint fragrance behind. There were also Jianghu cultivators and merchants who came and went in the city. If it wasn't for the fact that they were in the ancient wild region, Ning Fan would never think that these living beings who were no different from mortals were barbarians who possessed the ability to transform into barbarians. Along the way, they arrived at a tavern. Old Man Yu and the others tactfully bade farewell, leaving Ning Fan and Wu Chen alone. They drank wine and chatted with each other. No one knew that Ning Fan and Wu Chen were cultivators of a different race. The 2 of them sat in the tavern. They looked very ordinary, just like ordinary Jianghu cultivators. In a remote corner, there was no one to disturb the two of them. After a while, Ning Fan found out that Wu Qin had already succeeded in crossing to the true realm 15 years ago. This time, he entered the ancient wild region to carry out a mission to collect barbarian corpses. The reason why they were chased by the barbarian beasts and even attracted the attention of the void-abandoning barbarian beasts was actually because of a strange infant. If it wasn't for Brother Ning, I would have most likely died in the mouths of the barbarian beasts. I can't thank you enough. However, I didn't expect Brother Ning to have such fame and strength after not seeing you for several decades. It really makes me feel ashamed. Ha! Bottoms up. Wu Qin burst into laughter. He opened the clay seal of the wine jar and immediately drank to his heart's content. Ning Fan had countless beauties in his life, but he didn't have many good friends. Wu Qin was one of them. He was very happy to meet Wu Qin in the ancient wild region. While they were drinking, Ning Fan gradually told Wu Qin about his experiences along the way. When Wu Qin heard that Ning Fan had yet to cross to the true realm, he found it very unbelievable. I didn't expect the dignified Rain Immortal Monarch to have yet to cross to the true realm. I initially thought that Brother Ning had suppressed his cultivation base during the tomb competition. It seems like I'm wrong. I didn't expect Brother Ning to win the first place in the tomb competition with a ghost profound realm cultivation base. Amazing! I rarely admire people in my life, but I have no choice but to admire Brother Ning. In the past, Wu Qin could not help but recall the scene when he first met Ning Fan. At that time, he was still comprehending the true realm in the rain world, and Ning Fan was just a void refinement realm cultivator. After 100 years, he finally broke through to the true realm while Ning Fan had been catching up to him and was about to cross to the true realm as well. Moreover, Ning Fan's strength was far above him. I'm Wu Qin, the Wu who has no respect for the law, the Qin who slaughters people and slaughters cities. Brother Ning must be comprehending the true realm, but what I see isn't the true realm. The past was still vivid in his mind. Ning Fan smiled knowingly. He held a wine jar with one hand and drank to his heart's content. Wu Qin then told Ning Fan about some major events in the Eastern Heaven in recent years. For example, the Extreme Lightning Palace had been frantically searching for someone in the Eastern Heaven for the past 10 years. No one knew who they were looking for. Another example was that the domain gate of the Extreme Dan Saint region had been repaired smoothly. It was confirmed that the Saint region could be reopened in about 90 years. However, this time, due to the reinforcement of the domain gate, even Duzhen cultivators could enter. However, there was a drawback. The price of reinforcing the domain gate was that the Extreme Dan Saint region could no longer be opened. Oh, Duzhen can also enter. I was worried that I wouldn't be able to enter after breaking through to the Heavenly Devil realm. Ning Fan said with slight surprise. As expected, Brother Ning entered the Extreme Dan Saint region for the sake of the first disciple of the medicine sect. Brother Ning is indeed a distinguished man. Speaking of which, it's rare for Brother Ning to enter the ancient savage domain. Why don't you cross the true realm here? The barbarian city here is no different from the mortal world. It's very suitable to be a place to attain the true realm. Moreover, there are many Tao-seeking fruits in this ancient savage domain. Consuming them can slightly increase the success rate of crossing the true realm. It's not easy to cross the 9 crossing true bridges. It's good to increase the success rate. Wu Qin's words fell into Ning Fan's ears. His eyes flickered slightly, but he shook his head with a smile. Ning Fan's priority was to cultivate the 4th transformation of his combat arts. As for the matter of crossing the true realm, he could put it aside for now. Our team's mission is to collect 100 barbarian corpses of true realm. Now, we have collected more than 40 corpses. I think it will take another 7 to 8 years to complete the collection and leave the ancient savage domain. If it wasn't for Brother Ning's timely arrival, I would have most likely died in the mouths of those wild beasts. It's really fucking dangerous. Wu Qin said with a sigh. Do you need my help in collecting the barbarian corpses? Ning Fan was indebted to Wu Qin. Naturally, he wouldn't mind helping Wu Qin. I still want to use this battle to stabilize my cultivation base. If Brother Ning intervenes in this matter, I'm afraid it will only take you a few days to gather all the barbarian corpses. Then it will be meaningless. Wu Chen laughed and declined Ning Fan's good intention. You want to stabilize your true realm? Ning Fan thought for a moment and took out a storage pouch and handed it to Wu Chen. Wu Chen took the storage pouch and looked inside. His eyes immediately widened and revealed a serious expression. Then he pushed the storage pouch back to Ning Fan. These Dao fruits are too many and too precious. Wu Chen can't accept them. When I took those things from you in the past, I didn't treat you politely. Just accept it. Ning Fan smiled disapprovingly. Wu Chen was stunned for a moment. Then he burst into laughter and accepted the storage pouch without any pretense. The feast lasted for half a day. Only then did Ning Fan bid farewell and left. Wu Chen still had the mission to hunt wild beasts, and he also had the mission to cultivate the war god art. Both of them couldn't be together for a long time. I wonder when will be the next time we meet. Wu Chen sat alone in the wine shop and sighed. Ning Fan left the Yu Clan city and headed back to the Black Swamp. Due to the appearance of the shedding space barbarian beast, Ning Fan did not use his full strength in the battle, and he had yet to break through the bottleneck of his war god art. The reason why he returned was to break through the bottleneck of his battle art. The second reason was to search for the so-called strange infant. He was somewhat bothered by the strange infant that could attract the shedding space barbarian beast to hunt him down. Chapter 861. In the Black Marsh Swamp, the savage beasts had already returned to their nests. Ning Fan flew above the great marsh and activated his rain technique. His spirit sense immediately spread far away along with the curtain of rain. Very soon, Ning Fan found the wild beast that devoured the strange infant. Then he immediately flew towards the wild beast's lair in a flash. That wild beast's cultivation base was at the early true nascent soul realm. Currently, it was sleeping soundly. When it sensed the arrival of a strong enemy, it immediately opened its eyes and rushed out of its lair. It glared at Ning Fan fiercely and roared at the sky. This roar was not loud, but for some reason, it traveled extremely far. Any savage beast that heard the roar could not help but rush over. That scene was as if the emperor of the mortal world was in trouble and the vassals were rushing to the rescue of the emperor. They were extremely anxious. Ning Fan's eyes flashed with green light as he glanced at the wild beast in front of him. This was a purple-scaled savage beast that was half fish and half dragon. The strange infant within its body was still present, and it had not been completely refined and absorbed. At this moment, an extremely small head had grown out of the beast's neck. Perhaps after refining the strange infant, it would have a second head. This beast is clearly not the leader of the wild beasts here, but a single roar from it could attract tens of thousands of wild beasts to help. Could it be because of the existence of that strange infant? Any savage beast that devours the strange infant would be able to make other savage beasts submit to it. There seems to be a trace of Jieshue's aura in that strange baby. A golden light flashed and he disappeared without a trace. In the next moment, he appeared on the huge head of the beast. Without saying a word, he punched the beast. With Ning Fan's heavenly devil physical body, which was at the peak of the first nirvana realm, the power of a single punch was enough to severely injure this beast even without using any of his abilities. Even though the scales of the beast were thick, it could not withstand the force of Ning Fan's punch. Half of its head was directly blasted away by Ning Fan. The purple-scaled savage beast let out a blood-curdling screech and was on the verge of death. However, just as it was about to die, the beast's body suddenly turned into a pile of mud. At the same time, the swamp at the side gathered again, forming the appearance of the purple-scaled savage beast. It had actually been revived. The head that was smashed by Ning Fan was actually successfully reconstructed after being crushed and solidified. However, it was slightly smaller than before. He was clearly on the verge of death, but he could still come back to life. Ning Fan's eyes narrowed. He realized that the mud divine ability of this beast seemed to have a trace of power similar to tribulation will. This strength seemed to be the self-preservation ability bestowed upon the savage beast by the bizarre infant in its body. In the distance, the auras of countless savage beasts were rushing over, and there was no lack of shedding void realm savage beasts. Even though Ning Fan had killed a shedding void lightning spirit before, he was not so conceited that he could fight against several shedding void barbaric beasts without losing. As such, the only way was to kill this beast before those powerful savage beasts arrived. 1,200 traces of natal battle flames burned within Ning Fan's body. At this moment, he activated the second transformation of his battle art. At this moment, Gumo's cultivation base skyrocketed all the way to the third nirvana of the heavenly devil realm. A late true crossing realm aura immediately erupted from his body. Ning Fan flicked his finger repeatedly, and rays of black and red light immediately shot out, penetrating the body of the purple-scaled beast, continuously inflicting fatal injuries on it. Every time it was on the verge of death, the purple-scaled savage beast would turn into mud. Although it could continuously revive, its aura would become weaker and weaker. Moreover, the beast did not notice that every time Ning Fan used the barbaric flash, he would use the power of tribulation will to set up formation techniques inside its body. In the past, Ning Fan could not set up formations using tribulation will. However, now that he had comprehended the secret of the word force and his understanding of the Tao of formations, he was much better than before. As the number of techniques inside the purple-scaled beast's body increased, Ning Fan finally formed a hand seal and shouted coldly, "Collapse!" All of a sudden, countless formation patterns appeared on the surface of the beast's body. All of its abilities were sealed by the formation. Ning Fan threw another punch and destroyed the beast's head. The beast finally screamed and died. It could no longer turn into mud to evade the calamity. At the moment when Ning Fan killed the purple-scaled beast, the group of savage beasts in the distance seemed to have sensed his presence. All of them roared angrily and locked onto Ning Fan with their killing intent. Ning Fan tore the flesh of the purple-scaled beast into pieces with both of his hands and took out the two-headed strange infant inside its body. With just a glance, Ning Fan noticed that the strange infant contained a trace of fake tribulation blood's power. Even though it was fake tribulation blood, devouring this infant would probably strengthen the tribulation blood in his body slightly. He did not devour the infant immediately. Instead, he kept it in his storage pouch and fled into the distance with a flash. No matter where he went, no matter if he concealed himself or not, the group of savage beasts behind him seemed to be able to accurately lock onto his location. Are they sensing my location based on this strange infant? Ning Fan suddenly stopped moving and no longer fled. The reason why he ran away just now was to confirm that these savage beasts had the ability to track down the strange infant. He suddenly turned around and rushed towards the savage beasts that were full of killing intent. Every time he threw out a punch, an early truth-crossing realm savage beast would definitely die. Even if it was a mid-truth-crossing realm savage beast, it would be sent flying and suffer serious injuries after being hit by Ning Fan's punches. After killing 7 to 8 early truth-crossing realm savage beasts, there were already late truth-crossing realm savage beasts surrounding him. As the number of savage beasts increased, Ning Fan finally unsealed the power of yin and yang in the rain. Then he made a grabbing motion with his 5 fingers, pulled out the earth soul from the ground and swallowed it. His aura force immediately skyrocketed. Under the dual cultivation of magic power, his strength was already infinitely close to that of a shedding void realm cultivator. Ning Fan summoned the 5 rain swords. The 5 immortal swords hung high in the sky and torrential rain poured down. Under the shedding void realm, none of the savage beasts could withstand a single round of attacks from the 5 swords. Savage beasts kept screaming and falling to the ground. Their corpses were everywhere and their dirty blood flowed all over the black swamp. At this moment, Ning Fan unleashed his full combat power. When the 7 shedding void realm savage beasts arrived, there were no other savage beasts left. Alien race. Hand over Wanging. The 7 shedding void realm savage beasts roared furiously. The beast that possesses the infant is the king of the savage beasts, huh? Ning Fan seemed to have understood something. However, it was impossible for him to hand over the strange infant to the savage beasts. He performed a hand seal, and the rainstorm between heaven and earth immediately fused into the 5 swords, turning into millions of immortal sword shadows that slashed at the 7 beasts. The 7 beasts were not weak either. Each of them executed a brutal flash attack and directly destroyed the millions of sword shadows. Only an early shedding Void Realm Savage Beast was slightly injured by the rain of swords. After trying it out, Ning Fan immediately knew that he was not a match for the 7 beasts. Thus, he did not continue to attack. After a series of battles, the bottleneck of the 3rd transformation of Ning Fan's battle art had loosened. Since he had also obtained the strange infant, it was time for him to go back and cultivate in seclusion. He raised his hand and withdrew the 5 rain swords. Then he performed a hand seal with all 10 of his fingers. His finger shadows danced in the air, and immediately, heaven and earth were filled with purple mist. At the moment when the purple mist appeared, Ning Fan took out the strange infant. He moved his fingers like a sword and cut the strange infant into 2, killing it. Then he immediately swallowed the broken infant and refined the false calamity blood within it. As soon as the strange infant died, the 7 shedding Void Realm Savage Beasts immediately lost track of Ning Fan. The purple mist covered Ning Fan's figure, and the rainstorm washed away his chi. When they sensed Wang Ying's death, the 7 shedding Void Realm Savage Beasts wailed to the sky, wishing that they could kill Ning Fan as soon as possible. However, when the purple mist dispersed, Ning Fan's figure was nowhere to be seen. Damn it! Wang Ying was saved by us once, but he still died in the hands of the alien race. How are we going to fulfill the agreement between our race and the demon race next time? Wang Ying is one less. While the 7 savage beasts were shocked and furious, in the northern region of the ancient wild region, a furious roar resounded in the barbarian region of the 7 great demon races. Damn it! Something big is about to happen, and one of the defying nascent souls is gone. Who was it that dared to kill the defying nascent soul that I planted? As soon as the roar was heard, a powerful expert of the demon race immediately flew up to the snowy sky. It was a purple-haired old man with a dragon horn on his head. His body was emitting the powerful aura of an ancient immortal venerable. The purple-haired old man changed his hand seals, and the 7 shedding Void Realm Savage Beasts that were chasing after Ning Fan immediately let out a blood-curdling scream and died. In the purple-haired old man's sea of consciousness, 7 messages immediately appeared. The one who killed the defying nascent soul was a cultivator of the 4 heavens with a ghost face and silver hair. You want to run away after killing me? Is there such a good thing in this world? You won't be able to run away. The purple-haired old man sneered. His smile was extremely ferocious. Then his figure shrank and merged with heaven and earth, vanishing without a trace. When he reappeared, he had already traveled across half of the barbarian region. His movement technique was extremely fast. With his speed, he only needed 100 breaths to travel across several barbarian regions and arrive at the Black Swamp Great Swamp. At this moment, Ning Fan, who had gotten rid of the 7 shedding Void Realm Savage Beasts, suddenly felt an unprecedented sense of danger. His eyes flashed with green light. He immediately sensed that there was an aura that was comparable to an ancient immortal venerable rushing towards the Black Swamp Great Swamp at full speed. Killing that strange nascent soul has actually attracted an ancient immortal venerable. Ning Fan's heart skipped a beat. However, he did not panic. He stomped on the ground with the tip of his feet. His blood boiled, and he immediately turned into a ray of golden light, dashing towards the ancient forest. Using the golden light to fly at full speed, Ning Fan returned to the ancient forest in just a few breaths. After giving a brief explanation, he directly activated the power of the Yin-Yang locket, trying to keep Lu Yen and the little girl into the profound Yin world. Lu Yen was kept into the profound Yin world, but the little girl could not. Are you trying to keep me into a spatial treasure? Little Chantian said that when my lightning body evolves, I can't enter any spatial spaces of spatial treasures. The little girl said innocently, You can't enter the spatial spaces of spatial treasures, huh? Ning Fan frowned. He directly carried the little girl on his shoulder and rode on the golden light. In just a few breaths, he had already left this barbarian region. When the elderly man arrived at the Black Swamp Great Swamp, Ning Fan had already traveled a few barbarian regions. You sure run fast. But you can't run away. The purple-haired elderly man sensed the remnant nascent soul chi in Ning Fan's body. Just as he was about to chase after him, his eyes suddenly turned grim. The space above the Black Swamp Great Swamp cracked and two figures walked out of it. It was a man and a woman. Both of them possessed the strength of an ancient immortal venerable. 6 Unity Immortal Venerable Miao Yen. As soon as the purple-haired elderly man saw the two human immortal venerables in front of him, his expression immediately turned grim. The 6 Unity Immortal Venerable was a middle-aged man. He wore an emperor's crown and the king chi around him was intimidating. His aura force was strong enough to sweep through heaven and earth. He looked at the purple-haired elderly man with cold eyes. He did not say a word, but it gave the latter a great pressure. The other female immortal venerable was called Miao Yen. Her face was covered with a light veil. Her chi was slightly weaker than the purple-haired elderly man and the 6 Unity Immortal Venerable. Seeing the fearful look on the purple-haired elderly man's face, Venerable Miao Yen giggled and said in a charming tone, "I was wondering which immortal venerable of the demon race was giving off such a strong killing intent that made everyone in the entire ancient savage desolation region anxious. Turns out it's fellow Taoist Du Longzi of the True Dragon Clan. But judging from fellow Taoist's aura, it seems like you want to kill your way into the 5 regions of the divine race. If that's the case, I can't help but stop you. Damn it. I was just one step away from capturing that junior and taking back the power of my remnant nascent soul. I didn't expect these two people to come and stop me." The purple-haired elderly man reluctantly looked at the direction where Ning Fan had escaped to. His expression was extremely unpleasant. After a short moment of silence, he finally let out a cold snort. His body merged with heaven and earth and returned to the north. "Dulongzi, he came here in such a threatening manner. What's his purpose?" Venerable 6 Unity frowned and looked at the direction where the purple-haired elderly man was looking at. Unfortunately, he could not sense the power of the remnant nascent soul. Naturally, he did not know which direction Ning Fan had escaped to. "I don't know. Recently, I've been feeling uneasy, as if something big is going to happen in this ancient savage desolation region," Venerable Miao Yen said with a frown. "I also have the same feeling. Could it be that the demon race is preparing to start the next world war? If that's the case, we must report this matter to the puppet sect so that we can take precautions. We'll do as fellow Taoist 6 Unity said. After we return, we'll report this matter to the puppet sect." Outside a few barbarian regions, Ning Fan heaved a sigh of relief when he sensed that the chi of the immortal venerable 10,000 ancient had gone far away. His original intention was to escape towards the camp of the cultivators of the 4 heavens and attract the attention of the immortal venerables of the 4 heavens who were in charge of the barbarian regions. Now, it seemed like he had achieved his goal. After I killed the strange nascent soul, those wild beasts could no longer sense my presence. However, that immortal venerable 10,000 ancient who came from the north could sense the location of the broken nascent soul in my body. Only by completely refining this nascent soul can I shield myself from his senses. The immortal venerable who came from the north should be an immortal venerable of the demon race. What exactly is the significance of this strange nascent soul? It actually attracted the attention of the immortal venerable of the demon race. This matter doesn't seem simple. Ning Fan returned to the North Star barbarian region, which was occupied by the god race, and returned to the Mulan city. As soon as he entered the city, he let Lu Yen out and asked the little lowly to stay with her. Then he immediately went into seclusion to refine the broken nascent soul. In just half a day, the broken nascent soul was completely refined by Ning Fan. After absorbing the power of the pseudo-tribulation blood, the power of his tribulation blood greatly increased. Not only did the power of the tribulation blood greatly increase, but for some reason, after refining the broken nascent soul, Ning Fan's body actually gained a trace of power that was close to the origin of Tao. After absorbing this power, the progress of Ning Fan's yin-yang battle technique directly increased by 1%. What exactly is this broken nascent soul? Ning Fan's expression changed. In the twilight snow barbarian region of the northern region of the barbarian region, in a certain demon city, the purple-haired old man's face was as cold as iron. Invisible killing intent was constantly being emitted from his body. One of the defying nascent souls was gone. At such a critical moment, it would be very difficult to replenish the lost defying nascent souls. Damn it! Just because of the death of this defying nascent soul, the plan will have to be delayed for at least 10 years. If the dragon ancestor knows that I'm not doing a good job, he will certainly punish me. But fortunately, we only lost one defying nascent soul and it's just the weakest one. If we lose more, the consequences will be unimaginable. Ghost face silver hair. Ghost face silver hair. This brat is extremely hateful. Where are the poisonous dragon guards? In the main hall, the purple-haired old man shouted coldly at a place where no one was around. Immediately, 72 demon cultivators with dragon horns wearing purple gold battle armor appeared and knelt before the purple-haired old man. The poisonous dragon guards are here to listen to the old ancestors' orders. Among these 72 people, the lowest cultivation level was at the late stage of the crossing truth realm, while the highest cultivation level was at the peak of the shedding void realm. These 72 people were the famous poison dragon guards of the True Dragon clan. They were the heroes of the Demon Clan in the Last Realm War. Every one of them had made great contributions and became famous in the Last Realm War. They were organized as Dragon Guards. I order you to infiltrate the God Race's 5 regions and assassinate this person to vent the hatred in my heart. All of you, do you dare? The purple-haired old man flicked his finger, and a phantom image of a silver-haired man with a demonic face immediately appeared in the air. The 72 dragon guards glanced at the shadow and all of them revealed their killing intent. None of them were afraid. As long as it wasn't the demon race's immortal venerables, the god race's immortal venerables wouldn't make a move. With their strength, sneaking into the god race's barbarian territory wasn't too risky. Why wouldn't they dare? I'm willing to serve the old ancestor. Very good. Go down. This old man awaits your good news here. Chapter 862. After a period of seclusion, Ning Fan had completely mastered the third transformation of the war god art. At night, the cold air on the city wall of Mulan City condensed into frost. Ning Fan stood alone on the city wall, feeling a little uneasy. He had already refined the broken nascent soul and the immortal venerables of the demon race had already retreated. However, there was a new sense of danger in his heart. After attaining the state of the unity of heaven and man, Ning Fan had a better sense of danger. He closed his eyes and completely immersed his mind into the desolate world. As if he had become one with the entire place, rain quietly fell. The pitter-patter of rain spread out from Mulan City into the distance. As Ning Fan's cultivation base continued to deepen and the integration of heaven and man deepened, the heaven-peering rain technique no longer had any traces of being a divine ability. Old monster Shikong couldn't tell that the rain tonight was Ning Fan's divine ability of perception. As long as old monster Nian Xiang had not reached the peak of the thought fragmentation realm, he would not be able to tell the secret of Ning Fan's rain technique. The surface area of the Gaochen barbarian domain was comparable to the sum of 10 mid-grade star regions. Ning Fan's divine ability was originally not enough to cover the entire Gaochen barbarian domain. At most, it could only cover the area of a mid-grade star region. However, as the yin-yang rain technique was unsealed, the rain of heaven and earth immediately obeyed Ning Fan's command. The drizzle covered the entire Gaochen barbarian domain and extended all the way to the north. Beyond the north of the Gaochen barbarian domain, there were many unoccupied barbarian domains. None of them escaped Ning Fan's divine sense. Ning Fan's spirit sense merged with the rain and scanned through countless savage beast nests and barbarian cities. He even scanned through the ancient forest, the Black Swamp Great Swamp and the barbarian city where Wu Chen and the others were. He went all the way to the north, heading straight to the 7 regions of the demon race. The area covered by the rain was still expanding. As he approached the 7 regions of the demon race, Ning Fan saw 72 traces of demon cultivators rushing towards him. The moment he sensed those demon cultivators, Ning Fan's expression immediately changed. The source of his sense of danger was none other than these 72 demon cultivators. Are they coming for me? How did they find my location? I have already refined the power of the broken nascent soul. There should be nothing in my body that they can sense. Ning Fan's eyes turned solemn. After remaining silent for a while, he still closed his eyes and carefully examined his body. The first time he looked inside his body, he didn't find any problems. The second time he looked inside his body, he didn't find any problems. The third time he looked inside his body, he still didn't find any problems. Ning Fan became even more focused. His entire body seemed to have become illusory, as if he was about to disappear from heaven and earth. The spiritual energy in his body was pushed to the extreme. Spiritual energy was the power of ancient demons. It was a power similar to spirit sense, but higher than spirit sense. Even with his divine sense, he was unable to sense anything wrong with his body. But when he used his spiritual power to check his body, he was shocked to find that there was a purple mark in his body. That purple mark was extremely obscure. Before the purple-haired elderly man left, he had planted it in Ning Fan's body from a few barbarian regions using a great divine ability to mark his location. Ning Fan's eyes turned cold all of a sudden. There was a trace of immortal venerable qi in this purple mark. That qi belonged to the immortal venerable of the demon race who chased after him that day. What surprised Ning Fan was that this purple mark was actually condensed from the spiritual power of ancient demons. That was why this mark was so obscure and hard for Ning Fan to detect it. However, because the spiritual power contained in this mark was not pure enough, it could not escape from Ning Fan's fully spiritual power. Ning Fan's eyes darkened. He had a guess in his heart, but he was not sure. He separated some of his ancient demon spiritual power into the purple mark, leaving behind a trace of reaction. Then, Ning Fan opened his mouth and spat out the mark, forcing it out of his body. It broke into hundreds of pieces, and with a flick of his finger, hundreds of pieces of the mark flew towards different directions like meteors across the night sky, heading towards the barbarian regions that had yet to be conquered. All of a sudden, the 72 poisonous dragon guards who were chasing after Ning Fan from the northernmost regions stopped in their tracks. Among the 72 guards, there were 11 Shek Kong realm experts, and only one of them was at the peak Shek Kong realm. That peak Shek Kong realm old man's expression immediately turned gloomy after recovering from his slight astonishment. Strange. Why did the reaction of the mark in that person's body separate? There are actually 481 directions where the reaction came from. Could it be that this person discovered the mark in old ancestor's body and separated it from his body? Impossible. There are only 19 people in our true dragon clan who have cultivated the false dragon wheel. Old ancestor poisonous dragon is one of them. The mark that old ancestor poisonous dragon left behind using his spiritual power can't be seen through even by the immortal venerables of the human race, let alone ordinary cultivators. Even if that cultivator used a secret technique and revealed his strongest state, it would still be difficult for him to fight against 7 Shek Kong realm barbaric beasts. He doesn't have the ability to see through the spiritual mark. If that's the case, this person might have cultivated some kind of cloning secret technique which allowed him to create 480 clones and separate them from his main body. If that's the case, the peak Shek Kong realm old man's eyes darkened and he made up his mind. With just an order, the 72 dragon guards were ordered to split up and kill different marks. Once all 481 marks are destroyed, one of them would definitely be Ning Fan. It's just that this rain is a little strange. It rarely rains in the northern barbarian regions. After the 72 dragon guards split up, the peak Shek Kong realm old man raised his head and looked at the drizzle in the night sky. He seemed to be doubtful. However, he did not discover anything unusual after using his senses. On the city wall of the Mulan continent, Ning Fan's eyes gradually flashed with cold light. After some probing, he confirmed that the 72 demon cultivators indeed had the ability to track the purple marks. Moreover, they were coming for him with ill intentions. For a strange infant, that immortal venerables of the demon race sent 72 demon experts all the way to the south to assassinate him. Unfortunately, they were discovered by Ning Fan just when they were not far away from the northern region. You want to kill me? Let's see if you have the ability to do so. Ning Fan's eyes flashed with a hint of killing intent. He was not a person who would sit and wait for death. Even if this place was the ancient barbarian region and the enemy was an ancient immortal venerate, he still dared to fight back. This was a world that was outside of the samsara. Killing Emperor and the puppets of the Slaughter Palace could not cross over to this world. After returning to the cave dwelling in the city, Ning Fan ordered Lu Yen to temporarily enter the profound Yin world. However, he decided to leave Immortal Loli in the Milan city for the time being. Immortal Loli was a certain Loli named Xian Xian. You stay in the Milan city. I have something to do. Since you can't enter the space of the treasure, I won't bring you along. What are you going to do? Immortal Loli asked innocently. To kill someone. I'll help you. Immortal Loli puffed out her chest and put on a righteous look. It's better if you don't go. Ning Fan shook his head. In the ancient barbarian region, he did not have any means to go against an ancient immortal venerate. However, if he's alone, he could rely on his ghost mask, his treasure and his speed to travel freely without being caught by his enemies. However, if he brings Immortal Loli along with him, she might become a burden since she would not be able to hide in the treasure once the situation changes. Humph. Don't look down on me. I'm very strong. Immortal Loli said angrily. If you face an ancient immortal venerate, you won't be able to escape. Ancient immortal venerate? What's that? Immortal Loli raised her head, expressing her confusion. It's someone who is 100 times stronger than you right now. Ning Fan was speechless. Tieske. So what if he's 100 times stronger than me? If I want to escape, no one can catch me. Little Qianqian and the others tried to stop me, but I still managed to escape. Look, this is my secret weapon. Immortal Loli performed a hand seal. Pieces of lightning power that looked like snowflakes immediately flew out from her body, condensing into a pair of ice-cold wings on her back. These wings seemed to be a great burden to her. However, the aura force that it gave out was something that even Ning Fan did not dare to ignore. Immortal lightning wings. Ning Fan's expression changed. He had never expected that this little girl actually had such a trump card. Immortal lightning wings was the secret technique of the Extreme Lightning Palace. According to the legends, there were not more than 10 people who had successfully cultivated it. If an immortal emperor were to cultivate this pair of wings, their speed would be unrivaled among those at the same level as them. Even if a void-shedding cultivator were to cultivate this pair of wings, they could also activate a trace of immortal lightning power from the wings and possess the speed of an immortal emperor for a short period of time. After dispersing the immortal lightning wings, Immortal Loli raised her head proudly, admiring Ning Fan's slightly surprised expression with satisfaction. Ning Fan remained silent for a while and finally nodded his head. He was also not completely at ease leaving Immortal Loli here alone. Since she has a method to protect herself, it's good to bring her along. After all, she's a void-shedding cultivator. Having one more person is also a great help. Alright then, let's go together. Ning Fan flicked his sleeve. A golden light flashed and he directly brought Immortal Loli away, leaving Mulan City and heading towards the north. He did not move at his maximum speed. He was waiting for the 72 dragon guards to completely separate from each other. Then he would take them down one by one. Time passed by in a flash. 10 days had passed. The 29th district of the unconquered barbarian region. There was a huge change in the Earth's crust of the barbarian region. The cultivators of the four heavens did not name the unconquered barbarian regions. However, the higher-ups of the demon race had secretly divided the 30 unconquered barbarian regions. The barbarian regions with different numbers had different meanings to the demon race. On a wasteland in the 29th district, A young man with dragon horns picked up a piece of broken mark from the ground. His eyes were extremely gloomy. He wore a purple golden armor and carried 3 swords on his back. He was one of the 72 poisonous dragon guards and had a late true crossing realm cultivation base. After the traces of the mark were dispersed, he pursued one of the traces alone and rushed here. He did not expect to see such a scene. The ghost-masked cultivator that old ancestor wants to kill could actually force the mark out of his body. In that case, he did not send out a clone to hide himself. Instead, he directly broke the mark and threw it to different places while his true body escaped. How did this person do it? In that case, I won't be able to find his whereabouts even if I continue to pursue the mark. Without the detection of the mark, it's no different from looking for a needle in a haystack to find a person in the endless barbarian domain. Forget it. Let's return to the north first, the dragon guard coldly harumphed. He crushed the remnant of the mark and turned to return to the north. He did not know that after he crushed the remnant of the mark, a trace of obscure Fu-Li spiritual force flowed into his body and planted the mark. The same situation also happened to the other dragon guards. All of them were planted with a trace of mark. No one knew about it. On a mountain peak in the 29th district, Ning Fan had been waiting with his eyes closed for 10 consecutive days. It was impossible for him to unseal the Yin and Yang seal to sense the location of all the dragon guards. He was waiting for all the dragon guards to be planted with his spiritual force mark. The first mark was planted successfully. The second mark was planted successfully. The third mark was planted successfully. When the spiritual force mark was planted in the body of the last dragon guard, Ning Fan opened his eyes and activated his battle intent. His ancient devil cultivation base skyrocketed all the way to the peak of the third nirvana of the heavenly devil realm. Carrying the immortal Lowly, Ning Fan flew towards a certain direction. In the 29th district, the late true crossing realm dragon guard who had just traveled tens of millions of li to the north suddenly had a change of expression. Then he saw a flash of golden light in the sky in front of him. 2 figures, a man and a woman, slowly appeared. The woman was a silver-haired little lowly whose cultivation base could not be discerned, while the man was a silver-haired cultivator with a ghost face. The young dragon guard was shocked at first. Then he sneered. "It's you. You're the person that old ancestor wants to kill. I didn't expect that you would come to me without me looking for you. Good. Very good. Such a great credit actually fell into my hands for no reason. You can die now." Demon Sea Art. The young dragon guard emitted a piercingly cold killing intent. He made a hand seal and the 3 demon swords on his back immediately rushed out of the sword sheath and vanished. Immediately, 3 giant dragon shadows appeared between heaven and earth. Each of them emitted a terrifying sword intent that could instantly kill a mid-true crossing realm cultivator. There was no sword light, but the sword intent that was as vast as the sea drowned Ning Fan and the young dragon guard, killing them without a trace. The sword intent was like the sea. Any cultivator who fell into the sea of sword intent would have no chance of survival unless they had the strength of a late true crossing realm expert. This technique had once made a name for itself in the previous realm war. During the war, a total of 19 true crossing realm experts were killed by this young dragon guard's demon sea sword intent. Your sword intent is not bad, but it's not enough to kill me with this technique. Ning Fan's expression was cold and emotionless. He clenched his 5 fingers and the invisible demon's sea sword intent immediately collapsed. The 3 giant dragon shadows in the sky also collapsed with a miserable shriek. He did not use any other abilities. He only relied on his strong physical body to achieve all of this. Pseudo-ancient devil. The physical body of a peak third nirvana heavenly devil. The young dragon guard's eyes widened. He did not expect Ning Fan to have such a terrifying physical body. Moreover, Ning Fan's heavenly devil body seemed to be stronger than other pseudo-ancient devils of the same level. With just his physical body alone, Ning Fan was now strong enough to defeat any late true crossing realm cultivators. Xian, you don't have to do anything before I reach the mid-shedding void realm. I will kill all of them by myself. Ning Fan gave an order to Xian Loli, who was standing beside him. With a tap of his feet, he dashed towards the young dragon guard. Rays of black and red barbaric flash gathered in Ning Fan's hand and slowly condensed into a gigantic black and red ghost head halberd. He raised his hand and hurled it. The halberd immediately turned into a ray of black and red aurora, striking at the young dragon guard. This was the War King halberd ability of the war god art. Now that Ning Fan had integrated the power of the barbaric flash into it, the appearance of the halberd changed. The barbaric flash turned into a halberd. How is this possible? The young dragon guard sucked in a cold breath. He gritted his teeth and performed a sword hand seal. 3 demon swords immediately appeared in the sky and slashed at the halberd. The 3 demon swords were all 3rd Nirvana post-celestial immortal swords with unparalleled power. However, they were all shattered by the halberd. The young dragon guard could not believe that his 3 demon swords could not resist the attack at all. At the next moment, he was engulfed by the black and red aurora and his demon body was destroyed. In the barbaric flash aurora, 10,000 li of land was turned into ruins and the ground sank 10,000 zhang. On top of the ruins, a hideous and terrifying rift was left. It was the result of the attack from the halberd. What kind of ability is this? I've never seen it before. Xian Loli asked curiously. The barbaric king halberd. It's the ability that I created using the barbaric flash and the war god art, Ning Fan said indifferently. Suddenly, he raised his hand and threw a punch at the space beside him. Immediately, a black and red crack appeared in the vast sky. The space shattered and a terrified demon dragon's soul fell from the crack. It was extremely weak and on the verge of death. It was the demon soul of the young dragon guard. At this moment, he was trying to escape with his storage pouch, but Ning Fan noticed him. You want to leave? Do you think you can? Ning Fan raised his hand and sucked the demon's soul into his palm. Then, he kept the storage pouch and searched the demon's soul and memory without saying a word. After a round of soul searching, Ning Fan directly swallowed the demon's soul into his stomach. Then, his face turned solemn. This demon soul could not be used to perform the soul blast technique. It was useless to keep it. Rebellious infant. Is this the real name of that strange infant? I didn't expect that I would accidentally kill a rebellious infant that the True Dragon clan had set up. This rebellious infant seems to be very useful to the True Dragon clan. Unfortunately, the status of this dragon guard is too low. He doesn't know too many secrets. He only knows that this rebellious infant is a powerful weapon that the demon race used to unify the desolate land and wipe out all the cultivators in the 4 heavens. As for its specific use, this demon doesn't know. The 30 unconquered barbarian regions are secretly divided into 30 districts by the demon race. Among the 30 districts, there are still 107 rebellious infants left after I killed one of them. All rebellious infants live in the bodies of savage beasts. As for which savage beast they live in, I don't know. The savage beast seems to have reached some kind of agreement with the demon race. The specific content of the agreement can only be known by low-grade demon cultivators and savage beasts. Ning Fan gradually realized that the rebellious infant that he had accidentally killed seemed to involve a great deal of trouble. If he didn't eliminate this rebellious infant, perhaps this plot of the demon race would only surface after a long time and inflict heavy damage to the cultivators of the 4 heavens. No matter what, I have to hunt down this group of poisonous dragon guards. First, 72 poisonous dragon guards? Huh? Old ancestor poisonous dragon is really generous. He actually sent such a group of experts to kill me. I wonder how many of them will die in my hands. Ning Fan flicked his sleeve and turned into a golden ray of light with Immortal Loli, heading towards the other direction of the 29th district. In the 29th district, there were a total of 4 late True Crossing Realm Dragon Guards. He had only killed one of them. There were still 3 left. Ning Fan, who was wholeheartedly pursuing the poisonous dragon guards, did not notice the change of something in his storage pouch. After killing a poisonous dragon guard, his Immortal Guard token had a slight change. It was supposed to be a low-grade 8th rank Immortal Guard token, but after killing the poisonous dragon guard, the grade of the token skyrocketed to mid-grade 8th rank. This meant that Ning Fan's immortal position had risen to mid-grade immortal guard. Chapter 863. Ancient Savage Domain, Twilight Snow Savage Domain, Northern Region. In a hidden altar in a huge underground palace, a purple-haired old man with dragon horns on his head was sitting cross-legged inside an ancient statue grand formation, refining a strange two-headed infant with all his might. This purple-haired old man was the immortal venerable myriad ancient who pursued Ning Fan previously. He was one of the old ancestors of the True Dragon clan, Old Ancestor Poison Dragon. The strange infant was originally black, but under the refinement of Old Ancestor Poison Dragon, it was turning scarlet bit by bit at an extremely slow speed. It's just a low-grade inverse nascent soul and it's already so difficult to refine. With my strength, I'll need at least 10 years to refine one. That ghost-faced silver-haired man actually dared to waste 10 years of my time. How hateful! But I think it won't take long for him to die in the hands of the poisonous dragon guards. The corner of Old Ancestor Poison Dragon's mouth curved into a disdainful sneer. He didn't pay too much attention to Ning Fan. No matter what, Ning Fan was just a junior who couldn't defeat 7 void-shedding barbaric beasts. This subordinate request to see Old Ancestor. I have something important to report. A panicked voice suddenly came from outside the huge palace. Old Ancestor Poison Dragon's face darkened, filled with displeasure. He was at the crucial stage of his nascent soul refinement. Being disturbed by this person almost caused him to fail and destroy his nascent soul. He had clearly given the order that no one was allowed to disturb him during the 10 years of seclusion, but someone actually dared to disturb him. Do you know what punishment you'll receive for disturbing me during my nascent soul refinement? Get lost. Old Ancestor Poison Dragon said in a deep voice. Old Ancestor, you might not know this, but the poisonous dragon guards are now... No! Old Ancestor Poison Dragon shouted. The demon cultivator outside the huge palace immediately spurted out blood and was sent flying backwards. His demon body even showed signs of collapsing. In the next moment, that pitiful demon cultivator died with hatred in his heart. He didn't even have the time to say what he wanted to report. Humph. I've already handed over the matter of the poisonous dragon guards to my subordinates. What could be so serious? How dare you disturb me with such a trivial matter? This is one of the few half-finished products I have. If it's destroyed, it'll be troublesome. Old Ancestor Poison Dragon said unhappily. In another palace in Demon City, there were 4 Void Realm Dragon Clan demonic cultivators with anxious expressions on their faces. I've already sent someone to inform the Old Ancestor, but he still hasn't come out of seclusion to deal with what happened here. The life cards of the 72 Poison Dragon Guards were placed in this palace. These 72 life cards were shattering one by one. In just an hour, 11 life tablets had already shattered. Among the 11 life tokens, there was even a Dragon Guard life token at the early stage of Shell Void. 11 of the poisonous Dragon Guards have already died. Why hasn't the Patriarch come to deal with this matter yet? The 4 dragon demons looked anxious. Suddenly, the expressions of the 4 old monsters turned even uglier. The 12th life token was broken again. He didn't know how many life tablets it would take before it would stop. Southern Region, Heaven Capital Barbarian Domain. In a cultivation city built at the foot of a volcano, there was a spacious square with a huge monument erected. There were more than 5,000 Yao cultivators' names on the giant stele. They were ranked according to their ranks, and they were the 5,000 Yao cultivators who had earned outstanding battle merits for the Yao clan in the past realm wars. This tablet's name was the Demon-Slaying Tablet. It was created by the tablet-wielding immortal emperor, and there were great divine abilities within. On this tablet, every time a Yao cultivator died, the color of their name would change. Their name was initially red. If they died in the hands of the 4 heavens cultivators, their name would change from red to gray. If they died due to other unforeseen circumstances, their name would disappear. If they left the ancient domain, their name would temporarily change from red to white. In just an hour, 11 names on the giant stele had turned gray. This meant that 11 hostile Yao cultivators had died in the hands of the Four Heavens cultivators. Not only the Eastern Heaven cultivators could enter the savage, desolate, ancient domain, there were also cultivators from the Four Heavens gathered here under the command of the 4C sect. Thousands of Four Heavens experts had already gathered under the demon-slaying tablet. Looking at the giant monument, all of them were shocked. Poisonous Dragon Guard, Yen Long. This demon is a late True Crossing Realm cultivator. His 3 demon swords are very powerful. Even cultivators at the same level as him have been killed by him, but this demon is dead. Who killed this demon? Poisonous Dragon Guard, Viper. A peak True Crossing Realm cultivator is also dead. Poisonous Dragon Guard, Qianjiao. An early Shedding Void Realm Almighty Demon cultivator is also dead. He is the 11th demon cultivator to die on the demon-slaying tablet today. 11 poisonous dragon guards have lost their lives. Did the almighty experts of the Four Heavens take action? Are the cultivators of the 4C sect fighting against the poisonous dragon guards under the command of Old Ancestor Poisonous Dragon? What? The 12th. Another poisonous dragon guard is dead. 13. Another one is dead. The cultivators of the Four Heavens gasped in surprise. When a few cultivators of the 4C sect heard about this, they had already reported the incident to the 2 immortal venerables in this place, Lu He and Miao Yen. When venerated Wisdom Words heard this, he was slightly surprised and showed a puzzled look. None of the experts of the 4C sect went to kill the poisonous dragon guards. The one who killed the poisonous dragon guards might be the cultivators of the Four Heavens who entered the ancient domain during the non-realm war. It might be one person or many, but the 5 divine domains didn't send a large group of cultivators. The number of those who killed the poisonous dragon guards might be very small, or there might only be one. Interesting. I wonder who is the cultivator who killed the poisonous dragon guards? If it's a cultivator from the Southern Heaven, I'd be very happy to get to know him. His courage is really admirable. Every one of the poisonous dragon guards is the confidant of Old Ancestor Poisonous Dragon. I wonder how angry that old man Poisonous Dragon will be after so many of them died. Venerable Wisdom Words giggled. She was very curious about this unknown cultivator. I also want to meet this group of reckless people. I want to see which cultivator is so reckless as to provoke Old Ancestor Poisonous Dragon during the non-realm war. If a realm war breaks out because of this, I might have to personally punish these people. The 6 Directions Immortal King snorted disdainfully. He was extremely dissatisfied with this unknown cultivator. After pondering for a moment, he sent out a messenger flying sword with a cold face. It seemed like he had given an order. Reverend Miao Yen frowned and said unhappily, "Fellow Taoist Lu He, your order seems to be a little too much." Regardless of whether a realm war is triggered or not, these cultivators who killed the poison dragon guards are the meritorious men of our Four Heavens. Your order seems inappropriate. So what if it's inappropriate? Does Fairy Miao Yen have any objections? The 6 Directions Immortal Venerate said with displeasure. I don't have any objections, Miao Yen giggled. She did not argue with the 6 Directions Immortal Venerate. Instead, she also sent out a messenger flying sword and gave an order. In the 14th district of the unconquered barbarian domain, a late True Crossing Realm Dragon Guard was on his way back to the northern region. However, when he saw a flash of golden light, he let out a blood-curdling scream and died before he could realize what it was. He was the 17th poisonous dragon guard that Ning Fan had killed. In the 9th district of the unconquered barbarian domain, an early void-rending realm burly man with dragon horns was flying. All of a sudden his expression changed. He stopped flying and looked ahead with a solemn expression. In front of him, a silver-haired young man with a ghastly face and a silver-haired little lowly with a smile slowly appeared. "It's you!" The burly man with dragon horns was overjoyed. Just as he was about to kill the silver-haired young man, his expression suddenly changed. the silver-haired young man patted his storage pouch and summoned an ancient devil puppet. A void-rending puppet. Moreover, its cultivation base is slightly stronger than mine. The burly man with dragon horns immediately revealed an uneasy expression. He was just a newly advanced void-rending realm cultivator. His chances of winning against this void-rending puppet were slim. A great battle was about to break out at any moment. In the end, the battle ended with the death of the burly man with dragon horns. He was the 35th poisonous dragon guard that Ning Fan had killed. In the 4th district of the unoccupied barbarian region, an old woman with dragon horns who had an early void-rending realm cultivation base was flying. Suddenly, a golden light flashed in front of her and 2 figures appeared. Seeing that one of the 2 figures was her prey, the old woman immediately let out an unpleasant laugh. Before she could kill Ning Fan, the chaotic world purple light that blotted out the sky and covered the earth had already swept towards her. Even with the old woman's profound cultivation base, the moment the purple light swept past her, she immediately lost her mind and fell into a coma. She had become a lamb waiting to be slaughtered. It's a pity. This person has already been refined into a poisonous cauldron. Her yin qi has been completely destroyed. Otherwise, even though she is a little ugly, she can still be considered as a void-rending cauldron. Ning Fan felt slightly regretful. He released the yin and yang power of the rain and threw out the 5 swords, breaking the defense of the old woman's demonic body, turning her into minced meat. She was the 65th poisonous dragon guard that Ning Fan killed. Gradually, only 7 of the 72 poisonous dragon guards were still alive. Among the 7 of them, 1 was at the peak stage of shedding Void Realm, 1 was at the late stage of shedding Void Realm, 2 were at the middle stage of shedding Void Realm, and 3 were at the early stage of shedding Void Realm. Food brother, don't fight by yourself. Let me help you. You haven't let me make a move for so long. Are you looking down on me? Damn it. I'm very good at fighting. You don't even believe me. The immortal lowly felt very bored. The immortal lowly felt very unhappy. Along the way, Ning Fan had been selectively searching for dragon guards who were below the mid-shedding Void Realm and killing them on his own. He did not give the immortal lowly any chance to attack. For some reason, she felt extremely displeased when she saw these true dragon clansmen. She also wanted to kill a few dragon guards. Unfortunately, Ning Fan did not give her the chance. Don't worry, there will be a chance for you to strike. With the special physique of the Great 5 Elements physique, Ning Fan devoured the spiritual items of the 5 elements one after another to recover his magic power rapidly. After his magic power had fully recovered, he once again found an early shedding Void Realm poisonous dragon guard. This time, he did not choose to fight alone. This time, there were 11 shedding Void Realm poisonous dragon guards among the 72 poisonous dragon guards. Ning Fan killed 4 of them on his own. Among them, the old woman was killed by Ning Fan with the chaotic world purple mist. The remaining 3 shedding Void Realm poisonous dragon guards were the weakest among the early shedding Void Realm poisonous dragon guards. They were also killed by Ning Fan with his ancient devil puppets. As for the remaining 7 shedding Void Realm poisonous dragon guards, they were all existences that Ning Fan could not kill on his own. If he were to forcefully kill them, he might be able to kill 1 or 2 of them. However, he would definitely be heavily injured in return. It was not worth it. Therefore, the immortal lowly finally had the chance to make her appearance. The prey actually took the initiative to find the hunter. What's going on? The eyes of the shedding Void Realm poisonous dragon guard that Ning Fan had found flashed slightly. His sense of smell had always been sharp. Even if Ning Fan could conceal his baleful qi, he could not conceal the smell of dragon blood on his body. The smell of dragon blood was very strong. It was enough to prove that Ning Fan had killed too many poisonous dragon guards along the way. Looks like there's going to be some trouble. The prey seems to be very strong. But that's fine too. The more dangerous the situation is, the more I like it. Today's battle will be the battle to break through the bottleneck of the mid-shedding Void Realm. The shedding Void Realm poisonous dragon guard smiled coldly. his eyes suddenly turned gloomy and a gigantic shadow of an ice dragon appeared behind his back. At the moment the gigantic shadow appeared, countless ice dragon scales appeared on the demon's body. His chi also began to rise rapidly, approaching the mid-shedding void realm. Let's attack together. Ning Fan directly used his full strength in the first round. He unsealed the yin and yang rain and attacked with his 5 swords at the same time with the ancient devil puppets helping him from the side. The immortal Loli also unleashed her powerful lightning power. She was even faster than Ning Fan. She appeared in front of the shedding void realm poisonous dragon guard in a flash. She raised her delicate fist and threw a punch. With just that punch, cold lightning power that was as cold as ice and snow immediately appeared in a frenzy. It turned into countless broken snowflakes that flashed across the sky. The shedding void realm poisonous dragon guard was directly sent flying by the immortal Loli's punch. After that, he was attacked by the 5 swords of rain and the ancient devil puppets. Even though he tried his best to defend himself, he still suffered serious injuries. The destructive power of the 5 swords of rain made him feel a sense of danger. The existence of the ancient devil puppets also made him feel a great threat. However, what he found the most unbelievable was the immortal Loli's strength. In the eyes of the shedding void realm poisonous dragon guard, the immortal Loli was just a little girl without any cultivation base. However, a casual punch from her had easily shattered all the ice dragon scales on his body. The cold lightning power that she unleashed even made his body feel numb and sluggish for a moment. This isn't good. I can't handle today's situation alone. The shedding void realm poisonous dragon guard's eyes darkened. He temporarily gave up on his mission to kill Ning Fan and directly turned into an icy rainbow to escape. He was not the first dragon guard who tried to escape from Ning Fan. Unfortunately, how could his speed be faster than the golden light on the ground? Do you think you can escape? Ning Fan flicked his sleeve and immediately turned into a golden rainbow, chasing after the shedding void realm poisonous dragon guard with the immortal Loli. An hour later, the shedding void realm poisonous dragon guard was unwilling to die. He became the 66th dragon guard that Ning Fan killed this time. After this dragon guard, 2 other early shedding void realm poisonous dragon guards died under Ning Fan and the immortal Loli's joint attack. At this point, there were a total of 68 poisonous dragon guards who died in Ning Fan's hands. The remaining 4 dragon guards were all at the mid-shedding void realm poisonous dragon guards and above. Even if Ning Fan and the immortal Loli joined forces, they did not have the confidence to injure any of them. After all, the immortal Loli was at the critical moment of the evolution of her lightning body. Ning Fan did not have the intention to bring her along and take the risk. These 4 poisonous dragon guards became the only survivors of the 72 dragon guards. Bang! Ning Fan performed a hand seal and destroyed the imprints in the bodies of the 4 dragon guards. Then he left with the immortal Loli. There was another reason why he did not continue to kill the other dragon guards. It was a scroll that Ning Fan obtained from the storage pouch of the 68th dragon guard when he killed him. That early-stage void shell dragon guard seemed to have quite a high status in the True Dragon clan. On the scroll, there was a complete map of the 42 domains of the wild ancient region. On the map, 108 blood dots were marked among the 30 unconquered barbarian regions. One of the blood spots was located in the Black Swamp Great Swamp where Ning Fan killed the Defying Infant. Could it be that these blood dots record other Defying Infant children? Defying Nascent Soul, that's a good thing to increase the power of Jieshui and cultivate the power of Yin and Yang. Moreover, if we exterminate these Defiant Infants, we might be able to destroy the demon race's scheme. Although I don't know what their scheme is, leaving these Defiant Infants alive makes me feel a little uneasy. Ning Fan suddenly sensed something. He took out a token from his storage pouch. It was the token of an 8th grade immortal guard. Within the 4 Spectre sect, there was a system of 9 grade immortal guardians. In the 4 Spectre sect, the higher one's cultivation was, the higher one's status was. In the 4 Mystic sect, one's status was determined by one's immortal position. The 9 ranks were divided into low, middle, and high grades. 9th grade Strength Warrior, 8th grade Immortal Guard, 7th grade Deacon. In the past, Old Devil Han's immortal position was 7th grade High grade Deacon. When Ning Fan broke through to the Reckless Devil realm, Immortal Emperor Mo Zhong bestowed him the identity of a 8th grade Low grade Immortal Guard. In the past, the 2 words Immortal Guard were engraved on the token. However, after Ning Fan killed 68 poisonous dragon guards, the words engraved on the token were actually Protector, and there were 3 star marks on it. 3 star marks meant that this token was a high-grade Protector's token. 6th grade Immortal position, All Heaven Protector. I've forgotten that killing hostile demon cultivators in the ancient savage wilderness region can give me battle merits. I didn't expect that after killing 68 poisonous dragon guards, I would actually become a high-grade 6th grade All Heaven Protector. This immortal position isn't low. After all, within the past 4 days, only the star constellation Ancient Emperor of the 4 Spectre sect had a 3rd grade immortal position. 2nd grade 1st grade immortal position, none. 6th grade was definitely not low. Chapter 864. The 9th grade immortal position was the immortal official system inherited from the ancient immortal domain. Each grade of immortal position was divided into 3 grades: high, middle, and low. 9th grade Strength Warrior, 8th grade Immortal Guard, and 7th grade Mountain River Deacon were the last grade immortal positions. 6th grade All Heaven Protector, 5th grade Gold Immortal, and 4th grade Heavenly Supervisor were the middle grade immortal positions. 3rd grade Star Lord, 2nd grade Tao Emperor, and 1st grade Spirit Ancestor were the high grade immortal positions. In today's world, the cultivators with the highest immortal positions were the 28 ancient star constellation emperors of the 4 demonic sect. All of them were 3rd grade Star Lords. In the era of cultivation, there were no 2nd grade Tao Emperors. Naturally, there were no 1st grade Spirit Ancestors. Those with high immortal positions could directly assume a certain position and obtain power if they go to the 4 demonic sect. Those with high immortal positions could enjoy the offerings of the temples in the 4 demonic sect. They could also receive cultivation resources from the sect on a regular basis. Those with high immortal positions could even have the right to speak in some major decisions of the sect. The Old Devil was once the sect master of the Black Devil sect in the Northern Heaven. He had worked hard for his entire life, but he was only a high-grade Mountain River Deacon. His position in the sect was not high. It was not difficult to become a deacon. Even some Void Fragmentation Realm cultivators were qualified to obtain it as long as they had made contributions. However, it was extremely difficult to advance from the 6th grade to the next grade. The difference between the high grade, middle grade, and low grade protectors was huge. After killing 68 poisonous dragon guards and obtaining great battle merits, his immortal position rose all the way to the high-grade protector. Normally, only late-shedding Kong old monsters in the 4 demonic sect could have this immortal position. If Ning Fan had more combat capabilities and his immortal position rose to the 5th grade Gold Immortal Realm, his position in the sect would be comparable to Broken Thought's old monster even if he was just a low-grade Gold Immortal Realm. The Eastern Heaven was too chaotic. The 4 demonic sect rarely intervened in the situation there. Thus, the importance of an immortal position could not be highlighted in the Eastern Heaven. The Southern Heaven and Northern Heaven were the most peaceful, and they were also the 2 immortal worlds with the strongest forces of the 4 demonic sect. The advancement of my immortal position is indeed an unexpected gain. A high-grade All-Heaven Guardian. If my master knows that my immortal position is already higher than his, I wonder what kind of conflicted expression he would have. When Ning Fan thought of the old monster, his heart felt slightly warm, and he began to miss the mortal world. Unfortunately, it wasn't easy to go back to the lower realm. The cultivators of the 4 heavens, the demon cultivators and devil cultivators of the upper realm who possessed the immortal seed only needed to suppress their cultivation base and go through a specific passage if they wanted to go to the lower realm. However, for a cultivator like Ning Fan who was not an immortal seed, Once he broke through the second step and wanted to descend to the lower realm, he would be obstructed by the power of the realm. Ordinary passageways could not allow him to return to the lower worlds. The grade of the ascension passageway in the Blood Slave Garden was also not high enough to allow Ning Fan to return to the lower worlds. Cultivators who weren't immortal seeds and ascended to immortality could only enter the lower realms through the special passageways of Northern Heaven and Southern Heavens for immortal sex. In the future, when I go to Northern Heaven and Southern Heaven with my identity as the protector of all heaven, I can easily borrow the passage to the lower realm and go back to have a look. Ning Fan kept the token and activated the rain technique. Then, he brought the immortal Lowly with him to search the unconquered barbarian region. What he was looking for was a savage beast with a reversed nascent soul. There were different grades of inverse nascent souls. The low-grade inverse nascent souls were all parasitized in Dujin's savage beast's body. Middle-grade inverse nascent souls were usually parasitic in the bodies of shedding space savage beasts. There were also thought-fragmenting realm savage beasts in the ancient wild region, but there were no eternal ancient realm savage beasts. The high-grade inverse nascent souls were parasitized in a small number of thought-fragmenting savage beasts. Naturally, it was difficult for Ning Fan to obtain them. Ning Fan's goal was to seize all the low-grade inverse nascent souls in the Dujin savage beasts and the mid-grade inverse nascent souls in the early shedding void savage beasts. With the escape technique of the golden light and the senses of the heaven-peering rain technique, Ning Fan could travel freely in the barbarian region. With the help of the map scroll, he could find the inverse nascent souls and kill them. Taking away the inverse nascent souls would naturally incur the wrath of countless savage beasts. It might even trigger a beast tide to hunt him down. However, as long as he didn't kill the inverse nascent souls, old ancestor poisonous dragon wouldn't sense it for the time being. Ning Fan only sealed each of the inverse nascent souls and kept them in his storage pouch. He wasn't in a hurry to kill them. Large groups of savage beasts followed behind him, but none of them could catch up with his escape light. The Dujin savage beasts that chased after him were all killed by him. As for the shedding void savage beasts, they didn't bother with the savage beasts. In Ning Fan's storage pouch, the number of low-grade inverse nascent souls had reached 49. Ning Fan had also found 7 early shedding void savage beasts and killed them. As for the mid-grade inverse nascent souls, he also seized 7 of them. Even though the barbarian region was vast, it was not worth mentioning when Ning Fan flew at top speed without caring about the consumption of his magic power. Ning Fan didn't kill the mid-shedding void savage beasts. The strength of the savage beasts that possessed the inverse nascent souls would greatly increase, and they could also gather their companions. It was too difficult to kill them. In just a few hours, Ning Fan had seized 56 inverse nascent souls and quietly returned to the Mulan city of the North Star barbarian region. He didn't kill the inverse nascent souls immediately. Instead, he circulated his ancient demon spiritual power in the cavern dwelling in the city and used the secret word, force, to set up a grand formation that could isolate the senses of spiritual power. Then, he would kill and refine the inverse nascent souls in the grand formation. Twilight's snow barbarian domain of the northern region. Old ancestor poisonous dragon who was concentrating on refining the inverse nascent soul suddenly opened his eyes. His expression changed drastically. The inverse nascent soul that he was refining failed and exploded into a mist of blood. Before he had the time to feel sorry for the incomplete anti-nascent soul, the shock in Patriarch Poison Dragon's eyes gradually turned into frenzied rage. Just then, he sensed the death of another defiant infant. Another low-tier nascent soul-defying cultivator is dead. What's going on? Before he could unleash his anger, the 3rd, 4th, and 5th defying nascent souls died one after another. Then, more and more defiant infant souls died. In just a dozen breaths, 56 defiant infant souls had died. Among them, 49 of them were low-grade and 7 of them were middle-grade. 56 rebellious infants. 56 defying nascent souls died. Who can tell this old man what is going on? Who can give this old man an explanation? Patriarch Poisonous Dragon roared and leaped out of the altar palace with just one step. He was not in the mood to refine the inverse nascent soul anymore. His voice spread across the twilight snow barbaric domain. All the demon cultivators who heard his angry roar felt a shiver run down their spines. He stood in the snowy sky with his eyes wide open in anger. As Patriarch Poisonous Dragon performed hand seals in anger, wild beasts in the unconquered barbaric domain exploded one after another. Every time a wild beast exploded, a message would be transmitted into Patriarch Poisonous Dragon's sea of consciousness, turning into scenes of him chasing after Ning Fan. Patriarch Poisonous Dragon's expression became darker and darker. In the end, he laughed out of extreme anger. The one who seized the defiant infant was still that ghost-masked cultivator. "You're courting death. You're courting death. You're just an ant. How dare you kill the defiant infant souls again and again, hindering the great plan of our demon race. You're courting death. This time, even Lu Ha and Miao Yen can't save you. You've killed 56 of my defiant infant souls. I'll kill you in the ancient savage domain no matter what." Reverse spirit technique. Patriarch Poisonous Dragon's killing intent was shocking. He performed hand seals with all 10 of his fingers, and a faint purple pseudo-spirit will halo spread out from his body. This was a great sensing secret technique of the True Dragon clan. In the past, as long as the defiant infant soul was still in the ancient savage domain, it would not be able to escape his senses no matter which barbaric domain it was in. However, this time, the reverse spirit technique could not locate Ning Fan's whereabouts at all. It was as if there was a barrier that obstructed his demon's spiritual powers sensing. What's going on? Why is the reverse spirit technique ineffective? Impossible. Even if this brat hides in the medium Kiliacosm treasure, he shouldn't be able to shield himself from the reverse spirit technique's detection. Speaking of which, didn't I send the poisonous dragon guards to assassinate this brat? Why is he still alive after so many days? Could it be that the poisonous dragon guards failed to assassinate him? This Patriarch Poisonous Dragon's eyes flashed with surprise. His figure flashed and directly appeared in the palace where the life tokens of the poisonous dragon guards were kept. There were 4 void-shedding demon cultivators in the palace. Their faces were filled with worry. As soon as they saw Patriarch Poisonous Dragon, they immediately knelt and apologized. "We deserve to die. The poisonous dragon guards have suffered too many casualties. We don't know how to deal with them. Please give us your instructions, old ancestor." The 4 demons did not dare to raise their heads. They did not dare to look at Patriarch Poisonous Dragon's furious eyes. Patriarch Poisonous Dragon's eyes swept across the life tokens of the 72 dragon guards. The coldness in his eyes reached its peak at this moment. 68 life tokens of the 72 dragon guards were broken. Only 4 remained intact. As expected, the poisonous dragon guards failed to assassinate Ning Fan. He did not expect that the poisonous dragon guards would fail. He also did not expect that the poisonous dragon guards would suffer such heavy casualties. He had underestimated Ning Fan's strength. 68 poisonous dragon guards. Good. Very good. The poisonous dragon guards that I have spent so much effort to nurture have actually suffered such heavy casualties. Why didn't you report such a grave matter to me? Why? Patriarch Poisonous Dragon laughed out of extreme anger. His killing intent spread out crazily, causing the 4 void-shedding demons' faces to turn pale. They were terrified and begged for mercy. "We have already sent someone to inform you, old ancestor. Is that so?" "So that's what that person wanted to report to me. I actually killed that person out of anger. How ironic." Patriarch Poisonous Dragon's smile became colder and colder. He was really angry and about to go crazy. No one could and no one dared to stop him. In that case, that ghost-faced kid obtained the Defying Nascent Soul map after killing the poisonous dragon guards. He killed 56 of my Defying Nascent Souls. I see. He. Very good. Junior, you are very good. Very good. Guards, quickly recall all the remaining Defying Nascent Souls. Nothing must go wrong. If another Defying Nascent Soul dies, I will bury all of you with him. Guards, send a message to the clan. Tell them that something has happened to the defying nascent souls. The plan has to be postponed. I am willing to bear all the blame. Guards, open the illusory altar and summon the true dragon 7-arrow book. I want to kill that ghost-faced cultivator in the illusory altar. Patriarch Poisonous Dragon gave a series of orders. These orders shocked the demon clans of the wilderness. Illusory altar, true dragon 7-arrow book. Since ancient times, countless Du Zhen and Shikong cultivators had been killed in the altar. The 7 true 7 illusion arrow was used to kill Du Zhen and Shikong cultivators. Moreover, it could only kill cultivators of these 2 realms. If it wasn't a cultivator who had crossed the true bridge, it couldn't be killed. If it was an old monster with Dao sense protection, it couldn't be killed. In the past realm wars, countless human prodigies had been killed by the true dragon race from afar. Naturally, each time the 7-arrow book was used, it would cost a huge price. It wasn't worth it to kill ordinary Du Zhen and Shikong cultivators. But now, old ancestor Poisonous Dragon couldn't care less. Ning Fan was hiding in the sea of people and he couldn't find his whereabouts. Therefore, he could only use the 7-arrow book to kill Ning Fan. Since this person can kill so many of my dragon guards, he must be at the peak of Du Zhen even if he isn't an early Shikong cultivator. He can't be at a higher realm. Otherwise, with his personality, he wouldn't give up on the other defying nascent souls. His cultivation base is within the killing range of the 7-arrow book. He won't be able to escape death. Old ancestor Poisonous Dragon naturally didn't know that he had overestimated Ning Fan's cultivation base. Ning Fan wasn't Du Zhen at all. Unfortunately, old ancestor Poisonous Dragon didn't think that Ning Fan's cultivation base was below Du Zhen. In the barbarian domain of Heaven Capital, 6 Unity Immortal Venerate's face was as dark as still water. Previously, he secretly ordered his men to check the battle merit stele to find out the identity of the cultivator who slaughtered the Poisonous Dragon Guards. The battle points obtained by killing 68 Poisonous Dragon Guards were naturally extremely high. Only a few people in the ancient wild domain would have their battle points changed during the war between realms. During this period of time, there was only one cultivator whose battle points skyrocketed on the battle merit stele. Without a doubt, that person was the cultivator who slaughtered the Poisonous Dragon Guards. However, the name column of that person was blank. Nameless. This matter naturally caused a huge shock in the 5 regions of the divine race. This meant that the person who killed 68 Poisonous Dragon Guards was only one person and not a group of people. Currently, this nameless cultivator was already a high-grade 6th rank Heavenly Guardian and he had an immortal position token. There was only one reason why he was nameless. The immortal position token that he had was not issued by the 4 Immortal sect and his identity had never been registered in the sect. In the 4 heavens, there would occasionally be some cultivators who had heaven-defying luck and were able to obtain the favor of ancient cultivators and obtain an immortal position. This senior should have obtained his immortal position through this method. To be able to kill 68 Poisonous Dragon Guards all by himself, this cultivator must be a Shidong Void cultivator. It's a pity that the battle merit stele didn't show this senior's name. I wonder which day this senior is an expert from. No matter which day it is, old monster Shidong will always be an old ancestor level figure. The life immortal realm is just a transition between the first and second step. The Du Zhen realm is just the beginning of the path of seeking truth. The Shidong Void realm is the true expert of the 4 heavens. Countless cultivators were discussing in front of the battle merit stele. Wu Chen and the others were also among them. Wu Chen's eyes were filled with admiration when he looked at the nameless position on the battle merit stele. I wonder which senior Shidong he is. He actually had such a great achievement. He almost annihilated all of the Poisonous Dragon Guards all by himself. I really want to see the scene of this senior slaying demons with my own eyes. Wu Chen was fascinated by the nameless senior. Naturally, he did not know that the nameless senior was Ning Fan. This person's 6th grade immortal position was obtained with battle merit. Of course, it's effective. But who exactly is this person? To be able to achieve such an outstanding achievement, he should at least be a Shidong void cultivator. Unfortunately, this person is just a Shidong void cultivator. However, he went to provoke Du Longzi. Even if he hides at the ends of the world, as long as he is still in the desolate land, he won't be able to escape death. Du Longzi's 7 truth 7 illusionary arrows are specially used to kill Shidong void cultivators. Fellow Taoist 6 directions, should we find this person and help him get through this tribulation? Venerable Miao Yen giggled. 6 directions immortal Venerable's expression was still gloomy. He was not concerned about whether Ning Fan would be killed by the 7 Arrows book or not. The only thing he was worried about was that Ning Fan's action might trigger a realm war. However, it seemed like old ancestor Du Longzi did not have the intention to start a realm war. That's good. That Shidong void cultivator doesn't know the immensity of heaven and earth. He went to provoke Du Longzi. If he dies under the 7 Arrows book, he only has himself to blame. Why should I save him? If it wasn't for the fact that this incident hasn't escalated, I would have found this person and punished him severely even if Du Longzi didn't kill him. It's a serious crime to go and provoke the demon race when it's not the time of the realm war. 6 directions immortal Venerable let out a cold harumph. Previously, he had the intention to punish Ning Fan severely. However, he had no choice but to give up because he could not find out Ning Fan's identity. Fellow Taoist 6 directions isn't willing to help, but I am very willing to help this person. How many years has it been since I met a Shidong who dares to provoke Du Longzi? Venerable Miao Yen giggled and walked out of the main hall. No one knew where she went. As for 6 directions immortal Venerable, he slowly closed his eyes and smiled disdainfully. He did not think that Miao Yan's strength was enough to stop Du Longzi's 7 Arrows book. In his opinion, it would be fine if Du Longzi does not use the 7 Arrows book. If he uses it, Ning Fan would certainly die. An urgent report that was as thin as a piece of paper spread to every cultivation city in the 5 regions of the god race. A piece of shocking news spread to the ears of countless cultivators of the 4 heavens. The poisonous dragon guards who had made a name for themselves in the previous realm war were actually killed by a mysterious Shidong void cultivator alone. In the 5 barbarian domains of the god race, every cultivator of the 4 heavens was discussing the identity of the mysterious Shidong void cultivator. However, no one could guess who that mysterious Shidong void cultivator was. In a tavern in Mulan City, a few cultivators were discussing the identity of the mysterious Shidong void cultivator with saliva flying in all directions. All of the poisonous dragon guards are elite experts of the true dragon clan. Out of the 72 poisonous dragon guards, 68 of them were killed by that mysterious senior alone. Needless to say, that senior must be a Shidong void old monster and his cultivation base is at least at the mid-Shidong void realm. That's right. I suppose this has already angered old ancestor Du Longzi. If he uses the true Dragon 7 Arrows book, the consequences will be unimaginable. I'm afraid that senior is going to be in danger. The 7 truth 7 illusory arrow can kill people across realms. It's extraordinarily terrifying. Du Zhen, Shidong void cultivator, will definitely die. I hope that senior can avoid this calamity. In the tavern, Ning Fan sat alone in a corner, listening to the discussions of the cultivators. During the past month, he had refined all of the inverse nascent souls with the help of his demon spiritual power. The power of his blood had greatly improved and the progress of his yin-yang battle technique had also skyrocketed to 71%. After refining the inverse nascent souls, his strength had improved tremendously. At the same time, he had also destroyed the hidden scheme of the demon race. Ning Fan should have been happy, but at this moment, he could not feel happy at all. During the past month, Ning Fan would feel dizzy every day. Inexplicable illusions would often appear in front of his eyes. At first, the feeling was light. However, as time went by, it gradually became heavier to the point where Ning Fan could no longer ignore it. With Ning Fan's eyesight, how could he not see that he was suffering from a curse technique? The curse technique used curses to harm people and kill them without leaving a trace. After realizing that he was suffering from a curse technique, Ning Fan immediately began to gather information. Only then did he know that old ancestor Du Longzi had a 7 arrows book. With the 7 illusions curse technique bow and arrow, he could kill people outside the myriad of regions. Every time Patriarch Poisonous Dragon used the 7 arrow scroll to kill someone, he would erect a scarecrow and seal the aura of the person he wanted to kill into it. Every day, he would sacrifice the blood of 10,000 demons to taint the scarecrow, causing its host to be bewitched by the power of truth and illusion. When the time is right, old ancestor Poisonous Dragon will shoot the 7 true 7 illusion arrow to kill people across realms. Fortunately, my cultivation isn't within the range of the 7 truths 7 illusionary arrows. What's more troublesome is that as long as the scarecrow is not removed, I will be in a daze all day long. Although it's not life-threatening, it will greatly affect my cultivation. However, being cursed by the power of true illusion actually has an unexpected benefit. Every time I break through the illusion, my understanding of the word true is actually increasing bit by bit. Ning Fan got up and walked out of the tavern, returning to his cave dwelling. Lu Yen had already been released, and she was staying with the immortal Loli in a cave to the side. One was nourishing the star plate, while the other was cultivating by devouring lightning. He sat alone in the cave with his eyes closed, allowing his mind to merge with the true illusion power that had locked onto him. He was refining the true illusion power in his body bit by bit. A question kept echoing in his mind: what is true? In a hazy state, Ning Fan saw a bridge. It was shrouded in thick mist, making it hard to see clearly. That was the true bridge. After crossing it, Ning Fan would be able to advance to the true crossing realm. Unfortunately, with Ning Fan's current understanding of the word true, looking at the bridge was like looking at flowers through the mist. He could not find the location of the true bridge. It's not easy to cross the true crossing realm. Ning Fan calmed himself down and refined the additional true illusion power in his body bit by bit. The Twilight Snow barbaric domain of the northern region. Old ancestor Poisonous Dragon stared at the scarecrow on the altar ferociously. His eyes gradually turned cold. For the past month, he had been sending people to sacrifice the blood of tens of thousands of demons every day to bewitch Ning Fan with the power of true illusion. Now, the time was ripe. It was time to eliminate Ning Fan with the 7 true illusion arrow. Someone, unseal the ancestral soul pond under the altar and summon the spirit of the ancestral bow. You're tuning in to the Passion Pages YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.